Boom!
Ayan. Magandang gabing. Sabado po sa inyo mga good vibes. Ito po lang yung good vibes Pilipinas, ha? Mga ano diyan, mga kasama nating kasapi diyan, ha? Mga kasamang may sapi. Ayan. Yung andyan po sa may Pinoy's in Melbourne Facebook group. Local Pinoy's in Melbourne, mga Pinoy Loko-Lokos in Melbourne, and also mga Bicolanos around the world, mga taga-Bato around there. Lahat po ng Facebook pages Pinoy's in Atherstone, yung hindi pa po nakaka-admit ng aming mga ano ngayon, mga sabing Facebook page shares. Ayan, salamat po. Hindi ko na po sambitin lahat. Ito po si Papi Melvin ng Good Vibes Pilipinas. Meron po tayong napaka-educational na gabi ngayon kasi Siyempre, marami tayong gagawin. Ang una po nating segment na to ay yung bagong book ni Ma'am Rodalyn Daguplo. Ayan, alam ko, andyan na siya. So, ang susunod po natin, siguro mga 8 o'clock, ay sigurado yung ating Migrant Workers Center info session. Ayan, session po na yan is all about kung na-injury po kayo sa trabaho, ano pong gagawin nyo, sino-sino ang pwede nyong puntahan, anong dapat yung prosesong dapat sundin, kung may mga bullying o harassment, di ba? So, mga sample lang yun, pero napakarami pong factors. Okay, yun po ang mga ano natin. So, bago nga lahat, nagpapasalamat kami sa mga lahat online dyan. Okay, tayo po ay napapanood sa Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, Periscope, and sa Twitter Live, sabay-sabay, simultaneously. Kaya wala po kayong irereklamo. Kung ayaw nyo po ng Facebook, punta kayo ng YouTube. Okay? Wala tayong pwedeng ano dyan. Habang inaantay po natin ating mga kasama dito sa Good Vibes Pilipinas, sila Mayora, si Bibo, tsaka si Papa George or si Mai. Ayan. So, salamat po uli sa andyan. El Federico is in the house. Good evening, Papi. Sabi niya, boom! And saka si Madam Ruth Studio and my pinsan, Noe Colico is watching. Ayan. Maganda po ang session natin ngayong gabi. So, thank you very much po sa lahat mga nag-antabay. Okay? So, sige, welcome na natin ang guest natin. No other than Miss Rodalyn Daguplo. How are you, ma'am?
Hello, good evening, Kuya Melvin. Thank you so much for letting me join you guys tonight. I really appreciate.
Yan. So, si ma'am po ay actually may bago siyang book. So, gusto ko ipakita sa screen natin ang book na yon. Ayan.
Yes.
Yan.
I would invite everyone to please grab your copy. So hashtag #SheWins2 is available in Amazon.com. It's all over the world po. So you can purchase through Amazon.com. And if you are in Australia, it is available in www.amazon.com.au. So just type hashtag #SheWins2 by Alisa Divine. You can also write my name there, Rodalyn Daguplo. It will show up on the book. So I am the co-author of the book. It's about 10 women who wrote our story together to raise awareness of domestic violence. It is a very powerful book, and I am sure it will inspire other women out there. Thank you.
Diyan ka lang, Ma'am Rodalyn, Mayora. Welcome, welcome. We miss you.
Hello. Kumusta, Papi? Rodalyn, it's good to see you. Kumusta?
Yan.
Thank you po, Mayora.
Ayan. Siya nga pala, guys, hindi pa nakakaalam ang ating pong naggagandahang mga binibini, mga dilag. Isa dyan si Madam Rodalyn Daguplo po ay sponsor ng Good Vibes Pilipinas. Ang kanyang Queen Lane Travel Agency po ay, and also yung mga beauty products niya, and also her group of friends as well. So, supporting Good Vibes Pilipinas. For your information. Ayan, anong Ma'am Rodalyn, ano yung content nito talaga is more on women that experience or battled domestic violence all through the experience nila?
Yes po. So the book is about the stories and the photographs of women who survived domestic violence. So 10 of us. So we are all we are victims and survivors of domestic violence. So some of us. So the 10 women, like I'm one of them. So we share them what are the red flags, what we need to look for, because some of us live in a domestic violence relationship, but we are not aware of it. So by reading the book, it will give you like a lesson or an insight. Oh, my relationship is not healthy. So it is really a good book to read. So it will really like, and also if you are in that relationship, there is a helpline, or if you are in America, there are the helpline that you can contact in the book also. So if you are in Australia, I mentioned a couple of the organization that helped me get through how I survived, and then how how we get through from what we've been through domestic violence or family violence. So yes.
Yan,
I have
Mayora?
a question for Rodalyn.
Yes po.
Hi, Rodalyn. So we have opportunities to actually get to know each other, and you are one of our a guest in our forum previously, and I would like to thank you for that, for sharing us your time. And
Welcome.
I know it's a difficult subject to talk about, and it's also very difficult to actually open yourself, because you're opening up yourself to the public, you
It is.
know. And for many people, it's not that easy, I know. So where do you get your strength to do
So
this?
I get my strength from all from myself. I want to be
Mm-mm.
here myself, and I want to encourage other people as well. Sorry, my daughter is here.
Okay.
Want to encourage other as well that it is you don't need to keep you don't need to heal in silence.
Mm.
Some are wanting to heal in silence. I appreciate that.
Mm.
So I want to show the public that to encourage them that just sorry, sorry, I have my
That's
daughter over.
okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
At my old house?
No, we didn't. Sorry. Yeah, for a second. Sorry. So I have my
Okay.
daughter.
That's
So
okay.
I get my courage to to tell the truth. To heal. I'm standing in behalf of all the women out there that you are not alone. So
Mm.
there is help out there. So by sharing my stories, I hope that I inspire others that you know we can heal
Mm.
by sharing our stories or by silently healing as well.
Mm.
So that's all po.
Okay. Beautiful. So, yeah, and I mean, this is a very, very important issue that we really need to talk about. And I think when we say the title of your book is She Wins, I think when we say the word she wins, and you guys are all readers, kasi we all know that there are some of our women out there, children out there that actually didn't survive,
Yes, true.
and that is really, really important to talk about this, because yes, you are not alone, sabi mo nga, and how difficult it might be, especially in the Filipino culture. We still have this concept of shame. Nakakahiya, baka pagchismisan ako, 'di ba? Baka ibuli yung mga anak ko, or eventually baka pagka naging broken family kami, yung mga anak ko hindi tanggapin sa society, all this fear that it compass, paano pala kung, let's say for example, and in the case of Rodalyn, that she moved from the Philippines to Australia, paano pala yon kung because of course Rodalyn, we know she's educated, paano pala yung hindi nakapag-aral, hindi marunong mag-Ingles, 'di
Exactly.
ba? Paano sila makahanap ng trabaho? There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of magtitiis na lang ako hanggang lumaki ang mga bata, something like that, 'di ba? So, it's really important to talk about these important matters, kasi from the book, I'm pretty sure meron mga stories dyan na makaka-relate sila, hindi ba, Rodalyn?
Is it true po? As in, kasi lahat ng mga, some of, yung narcissist type of men that we like, the proprietor, they have qualities. So, most of the stories, like I read some of the stories already with of the ladies who are enough to write their stories here. It's have all similar similar stories po. So learn from it, and you don't need to be shamed. Like it's not our fault to be a victim.
Yes.
And also once you become a victim, you don't want to be like just stay becoming a victim. You need to find help, ask help. It's not the end. You don't want to wait until you become one of the statistic there, that one who are dead and didn't make it. So there is a help. I know it will be hard at the start. I did struggle at the start, but I made it. The 10 other women, they write these stories that they did it, so we win. So that is the part of the book.
Congratulations on your courage to do that, Rodalyn. And I know you're a very passionate advocate about family violence prevention. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you.
Ayan, si Papa George is in. How are you, Papa George?
Pasensya na, medyo late. Magandang gabi po sa ating mga kabarkadahan dyan. Pasensya na ho, medyo late. Husband duties.
Yeah. Actually, we have 2 segments tonight. The first one is, yan nga si Ma'am Rodalyn Daguplo is launching her new book. Okay, yung hashtag She Wins Part 2. And yung ating pangalawa ay yung Migrant Workers Center Info Session, which is going to happen very soon. Nandiyan na po yung ating mga guests. And I think, ayun, we have everything in place for She Wins, hashtag She Wins number 2. Again, Madam Rodalyn, paki-ulit nga po ulit kung saan natin mabibili itong book na to.
Yes po. It is available in Amazon.com. It's all over the world, and also in Australia, www.amazon.com.au. Just type hashtag She Wins 2 by Elisa Divine, or you can just type my name. I'm already a published co-author of this. So it is available po. And also, if you want a hard copy of the book with my autograph on it, I can also send it to you. Or if you are local in Couple Sound, Mornington Peninsula, I'm happy to meet you up as well with the COVID restriction precaution, of course.
Ayan. So I think we will let.
I want a copy. I'll send you a message, Rodalyn.
Yes, po. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me guest at Good Vibes Pilipinas po.
Ayan.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Keep safe.
Salamat po.
Ayan, many thanks. Sana mapadalan tayo ng copy ni Ma'am Rodalyn.
Yes po, I will send one for Good Vibes.
Wow,
Thank you.
thank you po.
Thank
Thank you, Ma'am
you.
Rodalyn. Ayan.
On 8 red po.
Okay po. Sige, Ma'am Rodalyn. So, ayun. Mga good vibes. Papa George, kumusta ka naman?
Mabuti ito buong araw nandun ako tutulong ako sa aking may bahay paggagawa ng garden.
Wow.
Kasi hanggang October 26 pa yata tayo, November 5. Medyo mahaba-haba pa kaya saka hindi maganda yung panahon kanina. Although sabi nila uulan, pero hindi ko alam if that's a good thing or a bad thing hindi umulan. Pero sabi ko tara, tayo na. Roll up your sleeves, do some gardening assistant work.
Good on you.
Ayun.
Ay, si Mayora ngayon. Ikaw, Mayora, what is your business staff today?
Hello.
Today.
Hello, everybody. Kumusta? Nako, ano ba pinaggagawa ko? Syempre, I have my Auslan class. So, I had to do my signing class this afternoon, early this afternoon. And then I'm getting ready for the next term of Tagalog Learning Adult class. So I'm, doing the lesson planning, putting up that in Moodle for the next term. So that's quite a little bit of busy. And next week is term test for the school where I work. So assessment period. So assessment development, a lot of brain work. So parati akong gutom.
Hindi ka ba nalilito niya sa Mayora? Parang 3 o 4 yata yung sabay-sabay na pinag...
Oo, so I have a lot. So I'm very, very, what do you call this? Organized. Google Calendar. Everything has to be scheduled in Google. So yeah,
Diba
if you want to talk to me, you need to set a request.
Ayun, ang isa pang dyan, Mayora, you can also use yung Google, yung Google Tasks. Yan.
Yes.
Google Tasks is good with Google Calendar. So, yun din ang organizing namin, mga tools. So, napaka
Yeah. So a lot of different things, like my different work has different calendar attached to my personal calendar. So, I can see. So that's how I do it. And then project management.
Yan.
I'm using Monday.com,
Oh, that's
Asana.
good. Monday.
So there's a lot of software I'm using right now. So I try to manage it as much as possible. Yeah.
Mayora, hihingi ako sa'yo ng appointment kahit mga 6 na oras. Kasi kailangan ko yata ng masterclass on technology.
Yes, I can give that to you. It really makes your life easy. And you know what? I just got my mini Google at the bedroom. So I think we have 3 Google Mini in different bedrooms now.
Kasi ako old school pa rin ako, kalendaryo pa rin
It
ang ginagamit
reminds
ko,
you
yung
of
diary.
your task. Take your medications. It's time to do this. You have a meeting with George. These kinds of things.
All right. So guys, I'd like to interrupt you na. I think we're going to the main segment of this program tonight. So batiin muna natin dyan sa ating Facebook and sa lahat ng ating YouTube subscribers na nakatenga ngayon. And Annalyn Leng Sanchez, good evening, taong bayan. Kasi Madam
Hello,
Yolanda
Señora.
Biasca, good evening po sa lahat ng mga good vibes. And sabi ni Señora, hi Mayora, Papi Melvin, and Papa George, sakto pakikinig, lapit ng matuyo, labada ko. So we have at the moment 17 listeners and viewers. So siya nga pala, ating main segment ngayon is all about yan. Yung nasa screen nyo. So it's all about Migrant Workers Center Info Session. So it's a Saturday, 2nd of October 2021 from 8 p.m. until matapos. Kaya lahat po ng mga ano nyo, this is interactive info session. If you have some queries, some questions, you can just type on dyan sa inyong mga chat boxes para papunta sa amin. And along the way, on the spot, pwede po yan nasagutin. And it will be answered by our two guests tonight, and si Gabriel and Florence. So again, this info session is streamed live at the moment in Facebook, in YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, Good Vibes Pilipinas page, and to be shared, actually it's shared already on many Australia-based Facebook groups. So please interact with us on the chat box provided on the stream. Ayan. Sige.
Don't forget to click and subscribe.
Ayan, sa baba nga, you can always follow, like, and subscribe. Facebook page of Good Vibes Pilipinas, YouTube channel namin, Good Vibes Pilipinas, ang aming Twitter, ang Twitch, ang aming Instagram, and also sa aming TikTok pages. And also, you can find us sa bago naming website, www.goodvibespilipinas.com. Okay, this is powered by Dialbox Solutions. Ayan, kung mayroon po kayong mga gustong solutions na i-provide, ang Dialbox Solutions po, hanapin niyo lang po si Miss Pin Flores, Miss Jasmine Flores. Ayan. So welcome na natin ang ating guest. I would like to welcome our two guests, Gabriel and Florence. So I would like to introduce these two bago natin sila pasalitan para wala na silang masabi. Okay ba? Para kung ano na lang, kumbaga no talk, no mistake na tayo. Kaya maya, again, Gabriel DAIN is a project organizer at the Migrant Workers Center, originally from Argentina, and he has been for migrant workers' rights in Australia for over 10 years through his work at United Voice, Oxfam, and Victorian Trades Hall Council. And also, together with him is walang iba, ating mga besi ng natin, Good Vibes
Beshi
Pilipinas.
natin yan.
Yan. She's Mrs. Florence DATO. She's a multicultural safety ambassador with Migrant Workers Center and a leader in the Filipino community and a social entrepreneur as well. She is the vice president of the Empowered Australian Multicultural Society, or TEAMS, and the president of Association of the Filipino-Australian Generation of Inspiring Leaders, or AGILA. Okay, she has 9 years experience working in the automotive warehousing industry, and participated in WorkSafe Victoria's first most inclusive and wide-reaching multicultural campaign to date. Yung workplace safety is our common language, yun. She is currently working at the Victorian Trades Hall Council as COVID-safe workplaces project organizer. Ayan, there's no other than one of the friends of BFFs of Good Vibes Pilipinas, Mrs. Florence DATO. Yan, welcome po. Again, I would like also to give you that insight about Migrants Workers Center. So MWC is a non-profit organization open to any workers in Victoria who were born overseas. It helps migrant workers connect with one another, understand our rights, and get empowered to enforce the rights. The Migrant Workers Center assists workers from emerging communities to address problems they encounter at workplaces, collaborates with unions and community partners to seek long-term solutions to the exploitation of migrant workers by organizing workshops, conducting research, and developing policy recommendations and bridges language barriers that limit workers' access to information. Its ultimate goal is to fix the system of labor exploitation in Australia. Ayan. So without further ado, would like to welcome Gabriel DAIN and Miss Florence DATO. Ayan. Come on down.
Great to be here. Thank you, Melvin. And hello to everyone in the call and all the viewers and listeners tonight.
Hello, welcome. In Argentina, do you speak Spanish or the Portuguese one?
Spanish. Hablo español.
¿Cómo estás, mi amigo?
Muy bien. ¿Cómo estás vos? I am going to have to apologize. No Tagalog or other Filipino languages, so you're just getting English from me tonight. I apologize.
It's all right.
Maybe
Don't
a bit
worry,
of
we
Spanish.
came in ready. Hello, Miss Florence. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Kuya Melvin, Mayora, Papi, Papa George, all the viewers, and of course, Gabriel. Thank you for inviting us tonight. And I can still speak in Tagalog or in Filipino. It's not a problem, but maybe I'm going to use as well Taglish, like in respect with Gabriel. So yeah, or maybe English. I don't know. Let's see what will happen. But yeah. Thank you for having us tonight, and good evening, everyone.
Yes. Oh, kung may translation, we have Mayora again here, Papa George and myself.
Yes.
Yours truly. I can do
Yes.
the sign language like with Papa Dan is having during his reports. So no problems with that. So we can always translate. So yung mga nahihirapan po na mag-English, makikipag-communicate ng English, wala po kayong magpo-problema. We can translate it in English. If you have some queries, just pop in your questions and we can translate it so that Gabriel and Florence could answer those questions.
Papa Melvin. And I just want to remind yung the one watching us today, if you have some questions, we will encourage you to please post it on our Facebook chat or sa YouTube chat.
Mm-hmm.
So we will attempt to answer them because I think this is a very timely, especially now that I think by October 28 or November 3 or 5, we shall be opening up. So that's a new set of challenges. So I think it's only proper that we know, especially those going back to the workforce, to know what is allowed, what's not allowed, what is authorized, what is discriminatory. I think we need to know our rights.
Yes.
Yes, so please, huwag po kayong mahiya. Paki-send nyo lang po yung mga question nyo at babasahin po natin yan para masagot po ng ating dalawang subject matter expert. Anyway, back to you,
I'm
Papa
pretty
Gabs.
sure, I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of questions coming in from our temporary resident visa holder and international students. So, lahat po ng mga katanungan ninyo, just let us know. And kahit po nakasulat yan sa Tagalog, we are going to translate that so that Gabriel and Florence can answer that for you. Ayan. So, ano bang atin, Florence?
I think I would like to start first with Gabriel because from tonight he is going to answer all about your rights at work, and I will just be answering about the safety side or your safety at work. So I think it would be like a question and answer. So I think maybe if Kuya Melvin will want to ask the first questions until all the questions will be answered. But the thing is, Gabriel will be the one answering all your rights at work, and I'll be on the safety side. So, yep.
So we'll
Kuya
just like
Melvin,
first siguro,
can you
we'll
take
just
it
like
away?
we'll just first ask you about the the migrant workers center, when it started, just a brief history and some achievement and also some challenges that the MWC has encountered and solved along the way until now. So,
Yeah, of course.
Gabe?
Yeah, so the Migrant Workers Centre is a relatively young organisation. We started in 2018 in Victoria, and we started with 2 staff members, just a director and a communications worker. And since then, we've grown to 9 staff members and getting bigger every year. And in that time, we've focused on 3 main areas of work. The first one is making sure that migrant workers' rights are respected by providing direct assistance to workers who are having issues. So we've got a team of community organisers and an industrial officer who can provide you direct support if you feel like your rights are not being respected at work. And in that, we've already recovered over $1 million from stolen wages and underpayments and so on in the time that we've been operating. The other 2 areas of work that we're focusing on is, first of all, education of migrant workers. It's so important to know your rights because even if the law protects you, even if the law in Australia is really good for workers, it's not worth anything if you don't know what your rights are and when to ask for help, right? And this is what we're doing tonight, right? I hope that people will learn a bit about their rights and how to get help if you're having issues. And the final thing that we're focusing on is advocacy. We know that migrant workers' lives, particularly temporary migrants' lives, could be a lot better in Australia, and the rules could be a lot better. So we work with government, with departments, with other organizations in the sector to try to improve the laws that govern our lives. At the moment, we're focusing on permanent residency. So much of the problem for temporary migrants is that we're always reliant on a boss or an employer or on a university to let us live in the country, right? We may be here for years and years and years, but still no way to get a permanent residency. And it puts people in really vulnerable positions. So we're working with government, with other organizations to try to make it so all migrant workers who call Australia home, who have a family here or who work here, can stay here permanently. We're doing really well on that, and we'd love for people to join us if that's something that you feel passionate about. So you can always go on our website and sign up if you want to campaign alongside as well.
Okay, hi Gabriel. My name is Mayara May.
Hi Mayara.
And thank you for joining us this evening. So for example, I'm going to give you some of the usual examples that happens in the community, and hopefully you'll be able to, address these questions. So let's say, for example, I just arrived in Australia as an international student, and you probably have an idea coming from the Philippines that our wages in the Philippines is really, really small. So I applied for a job, and then I got, a waiting, let's say, for example, waiting tables job. And I was offered, say, for example, $8 an hour. And you'll probably imagine that I'm going to convert that into Philippine money. And I'll be like, oh, that's a lot of money, and then I'll be tempted to take that job. Only after five weeks of working, I realized, talking to one of my classmates and one of my teachers, that I'm being underpaid. And how would I know the right payment for me. If I am someone who just arrived in the country and I don't have family and friends, I'm relatively clueless.
Absolutely. This is such a common problem, and it happened to me as well. My first job coming from Argentina was teaching Spanish, as I think a lot of people, do similar kinds of jobs, teaching their own language. It sounds like, Mayora, you're doing something similar as well. And in my first job, I wasn't getting paid right. I wasn't getting paid taxes either. I wasn't getting paid superannuation, and I just didn't know. I didn't know that there was a minimum that I had to be paid, that it was set by the government, and that I could get my money back if I was underpaid. So it's so important for people to come to sessions like this, but also share this knowledge with your friends, right? It shouldn't end with you. Spread it around so we're all grow by it. Now, the absolute minimum that everyone should be paid is $20 an hour. To be precise, it's $20.33 per hour. And if you're a casual worker, is even more. It's $25.41. There are some exceptions to that where you can be paid less, but really they're extremely rare. So if you're getting paid less than $20 an hour, I would get help, because the chances are you're being underpaid. Now, that's the absolute minimum, right? It applies to every worker in Australia. But in fact, most workers must be paid more based on the industry that they work in, right? So each industry in Australia, so think an industry can be something like retail, right? Or it can be hospitality or professional jobs and so on. Each one of those areas has a rule set, like a document called an award. And that document sets out all of the pay and conditions for the workers in that industry. Now, that rule set is given by the government agency called the Fair Work Commission. So it's the law, essentially. It cannot be broken. The employer can't opt out of it or choose to do something different. They have to follow it. Now, in different industries, you'll get slightly different rates of pay, but they all have to be higher than those numbers that I said before, right? So $20 as a minimum, $25 if you're casual. And in order to find out how much you should be paid in your job, you can go to Google and search just Fair Work or Fair Work Commission, something like that. And the website will show you how to find your job and exactly how much you should be paid. Now, as a final thing on pay, the $20, $25 an hour that I said, or whatever is on your award, that's for business hours, right? So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, normal job. If you're working weekends, or if you're working at night or early in the morning, public holidays, things like that, you should be paid more as well. And in most cases, it's a lot more, like double. So if you are working outside of normal business hours, definitely make sure you're getting paid this higher rate of pay, which is called a penalty rate, because if you're not, chances that you're being underpaid are extremely high. Now, what to do once you find out you're being underpaid? You look at your pay slip and it says $8 an hour. That's definitely wrong. It's way below what it should be. Where do you go? Now, you can go to a government body like the Fair Work Commission that I mentioned before, but if you want to go to something that's not the government, that's a community organization, confidential, and so on, you can go directly to us, right? So you go to www.migrantworkers.org.au. You can make an appointment with one of our organizers, and we're a non-for-profit, right? So we don't charge. Everything's free, everything's confidential, and we can figure out exactly how much you should be paid. And if you're not getting paid enough, we can try to help you to get what you're owed as well.
The loophole there that I'm seeing, and I'm telling you this is the scenario, okay? And we'll just figure out how to help those people who might be scared, to come out and ask for help. Is that something like this? So if you work for me, say this is the scenario. If you work for me for $8 per hour, I will allow you to work more than 20 hours a week as an international student. You'll earn more, and I'll pay you in cash on hand. So this is the situation. Now, if this is the situation for these international students, what would you tell them, Gabriel?
Yeah, this is such a common problem, right? People are put in the circumstances where they have to choose between breaking their visa or getting paid what they should. And it's a really difficult position to be in. Now, the first thing that I would say is if you're being underpaid, no matter how little it is, you should try to get help. Now, that doesn't mean that straight away you have to go to court, you have to fight it, you have to confront your boss or anything like that. Help can just be advice, right? Like you can make an appointment with us or pick up the phone to the Fair Work Commission, whatever. Just find out what your rights are, find out what your options are. It's free, it's confidential, and at the very least, you'll have more of an understanding of what you can do. Because in most cases, it's pretty straightforward to get the money that you're owed. You just need to take that first step. Another thing that I would say is that even small underpayments add up to a lot of money quickly, right? So if you're getting paid $15 an hour, let's say, so that's, still a decent wage for a lot of the countries that we come from. $15 an hour in Argentina is so much money. Yes. But in Australia, it's $5 below the minimum, right? So we're talking, let's say $5 and you've got a full-time job, or let's say you're an international student, you're working 20 hours a week. We're talking about $100 a week that you're being owed. So we're talking about $5,000 a year. Now, if someone reached into your pocket and took $5,000 from your wallet, you'd be running to the police station, right? In fact, if they took $20 from your wallet, you'd be running to the police station. Now, I think you should think the same thing about the money that comes from your payslip, right? They're basically taking the money from your pocket. It's just they're doing it before it even hits your bank account. So, every dollar counts, and I would try to get help. Now, the position that you put to me is a trickier one, right? So someone who is being told you have to breach your visa if you want to get paid, more money by working more hours, right? That's a position that a lot of people are put in. And the first thing to know is that it's illegal for your employer to encourage you to work more than your visa allows, or even to permit you to work more than your visa allows, right? So your employer is breaking the law by pushing you to take more hours, and they could be fined tens of thousands of dollars for that. So they've done the wrong thing here, right? They've put you in a position that, you shouldn't have been put in. And there is, in fact, a protection for workers in those circumstances where they've been pushed to break their visa. There is a protection where the Fair Work Commission, so the government agency that protects workers, won't report to Home Affairs when cases like this come up, right? So there is that kind of, assurance that if you go asking for help, they're not going to just kick you out of the country if you tried to do the right thing and you were just put in a very difficult position. I would say to anyone that finds themselves in this situation, the best thing that you can do, if you're too scared to go to government, which I totally understand, you're too scared to speak to your boss, I totally understand, try to find a community organization. That way you can talk to them confidentially, right? They don't report to government or anything like that. It doesn't have to be us. There are many other organizations like community legal centers, JobWatch, lots of others. That way you can have a full conversation about your case and be given some options about where to go. They won't report you to government or anything like that. That's the best thing to do, I think.
Mm-hmm. So now that we understood that, this sort of exploitation is happening, and there are people like you and different other organizations that actually could help people who has been a victim of this exploitation, and that is really a good thing. So let's go backwards a little bit. Say, for example, I just arrived. How can I start in the right direction? What should I do before even applying for a job? Are there any things that I should check, consider? Can you give us insights on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing to know, say that it's your first day in Australia, you're looking for jobs. You should know that there are different types of jobs in Australia, right? So different jobs that have different rules. One that people will know probably in everyone hears this one pretty quickly is things like full-time, part-time, casual, right? So this is a common difference between different jobs.
Yeah.
Full-time and part-time means that you have guaranteed hours. So that means no matter what, you know how much you're going to work week in, fortnight in. Those hours are guaranteed. Full-time means that you work 38 hours a week, and that's the maximum that a job can have as a requirement per week. And a part-timer is basically anything under that, but the hours are guaranteed. They're the same each week or each fortnight. Now, casual is slightly different. A casual job, you don't know how much you're going to be working. Your hours can go up, your hours can go down. And to compensate for the lack of security and how much money you're going to be making, you get a little extra, right? So like I said before, if a normal worker, full-time or part-time, gets $20 an hour, a casual worker gets $25 an hour. So it's always that 25% extra on top. Another thing that you should know going into looking for jobs is the difference between, say, an ongoing job or a permanent job and something that's fixed term or project work. Basically, an ongoing job or a permanent job means that it keeps going until you either resign or you get fired, basically, right?
Yeah.
You choose when to end that job, or, if you do something truly terrible, then you can be fired. A fixed term contract means that there's an agreed end date, right? So on day X, no matter what, the job ends. This is usually used for things like projects, think construction, one day the building is finished, okay, the job ends. Yeah. But it's also creeping into a lot of other jobs, so you should be aware of it. And the final thing that I would say is about probationary periods and trials, right? So a really common trick that people fall for when they start applying for jobs is a boss will say to them, look, you've got the job. I just need you to come in for a few days to make sure that, you've got the skills that you said you've got. It's just a trial, just a few days. Do I get paid? No, you don't get paid. Just a trial, right? Just to see if you can do the job. And you go in, you do the job, a couple of days pass, turns out there was never really a job for you. And this is just someone that wanted to get, work for free, essentially. Happens all the time. Yeah, it's basically a volunteer job. Except, it's great to be a volunteer, but only if you know that you're volunteering.
Exactly. That's exploitation if you don't know.
Yes. Yeah. So in almost all cases, and I'm talking 99.99%, you should never work for no money. There is something called a probationary period, which means that for the first 6 months of a new job, you can be fired just if you didn't, come up to the task or whatever. But all of that time, you should be paid every hour. So you should never accept a job where you have to work for free. That's probably a few good things to know before you start a job. But also, look, educate yourself, right? You can go to the Fair Work website or the Migrant Workers Centre website, JobWatch, many other resources, and learn a bit about, okay, what are my rights while working for Australia? Come to sessions like this, or, ask friends in your networks who've been here a bit longer. Hey, what should I know? Because migrant workers are some of the most vulnerable people in the workplace because we don't know our rights, and the bosses know that we don't know our rights. And so they'll try to pull tricks on us.
Now, this I see a lot in Gumtree, okay? And this is particularly interesting. What does it mean when these job ads are asking for ABN? Especially for some cleaning, there's cleaning jobs, and they will say you need an ABN. Why do they need an ABN? I have an ABN. I'm a registered business owner, but what does it got to do with applying for a cleaning job or any other kinds of jobs?
Absolutely. This is probably one of the biggest scams that workers fall for in Australia, and it's really sad because it's happening more and more. An ABN is an Australian business number. It's basically a registration that lets you run a business. Now, businesses don't have the protections that workers have, right? Like there's no law that says how much a business has to be paid or how many hours a business can work. So what some people do, some employers do, is they advertise jobs as being done through an ABN, through a business, through your small business. And that way they try to get around the laws that protect workers. And suddenly, if you're working through an ABN, you don't have to be paid the $20 an hour or $25 if you're a casual. There are no things like full-time, part-time, casual. It's just a free-for-all, right? Because you're a small business. You're running your own business. It's your responsibility to get paid whatever you think is right. It's almost never correct to be paid through an ABN if you think of yourself as a worker. If you have an ABN legitimately, it's because you're running a business. You have a company, you send people invoices, you set your own prices, you have a website, things like that. If you see a job as being advertised, if you see a job advertised as being through an ABN, I would say stay away. Now, I understand being unemployed is a very difficult situation to be in. So sometimes we take jobs that we don't want to, and that's fine. People will do that. But if you accept a job that's through an ABN, I would say keep looking. Try to find a job that's not, because you are most likely being ripped off. And look, also get help, right? So call the Migrant Workers Center, some other organization to try to get help, because it's very possible that we can help you to get a proper job through that company the way that it should be. Papa, I hear you've got a question.
Papa George.
Thank you,
Yes,
Gabriel. Thank you for answering all my questions. Papa George, please ask questions to Gabriel.
Yeah, I have to ask Mr. Gabriel. Based on your experience, at least in the so many encounters and support that you have given to newly arrived migrants, are you seeing what sort of industries are really the cheeky ones? Do pay you $5, $8, $15? Is there a trend that you kind of are seeing?
Look, I think there are some trends, but you'd be surprised in what industries we have found these kinds of tricks and underpayments. You'd think professional jobs, surely they're beyond all this kind of thing, but they're not. I've seen people who are working as, engineers, architects, graphic designers, who are getting underpaid massively. So, the jobs that usually come to mind when we think about underpayments are probably things like cleaners, or definitely delivery drivers, security officers, maybe some construction jobs or factory jobs, definitely farm work.
Restaurant
okay? All
well.
of restaurants, hospitality,
the biggest industry.
Yeah. All of the jobs that I said, definitely there's a lot of underpayments happening there, but they're happening everywhere else as well. Particularly lots of international students that are in professional areas trying to get experience in Australia so that they can get a proper job. There are so many scams that people fall for, where they're either working for free or working for peanuts, because bad employers know that there's a lot of international students who are desperate for work. Yeah.
That's quite sad. It's not very Australian, isn't it?
Not at all. Not at all. And look, Australia has really good laws for workers, and it's because I think all of us agree that there needs to be a standard. You can't let people be exploited. Unfortunately, there's two problems with those laws. The first one is, I think a lot of workers arrive in Australia not knowing that they have those protections, and so it takes a while for them to realize, hey, there's something wrong here. Maybe I should ask about how much I should get paid, and that's months or years later they find out they're getting ripped off. And the other thing is that there's a lot of fear, if you rely on your employer for a visa because they're sponsoring you, or if you, have been convinced to breach your visa as an international student by your employer, then that employer has a lot of power over you, right? And so there's a lot of fear around speaking up, around definitely talking to the government. And so these things kind of just go under the radar. I would encourage anyone in those circumstances, you can talk to confidential organizations for free. Do it. It can be us or any other, because we get good outcomes. Like I said before, we've recovered over $1 million in stolen wages in the last few years. We can get good outcomes, but you need to come to us first. You need to speak up and try to get help.
Yes.
Apart from underpayment, are you seeing a direct correlation or very high incidence of harassment and bullying and intimidation? Is that something that you're seeing as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I think migrant workers are more vulnerable in all aspects of our work life, not just with pay. So I'll cover maybe a little bit of what our rights are to do with discrimination and bullying and harassment and things like that. So the first thing to know is, what is discrimination in Australia, right? So we have some pretty good discrimination laws. Basically, discrimination is treating someone unfairly or badly in an area of public life because of a characteristic of that person, like race or gender, sexuality, nationality, and there's actually a very long list of characteristics. And that extends to the workplace as well, right? Bullying is a bit different. Bullying doesn't have to do with characteristics of the person. It has to do with treating someone badly over a period of time in a repeated way, right? So it could be something like humiliating them in the workplace, not once, not just one bad joke, but repeatedly over a period of time, grinding that person down. It can be being intimidating towards them or making jokes out of them, excluding them from social circumstances, and that definitely I think we see a lot of that in migrant communities because we're a little different. We have accents and we maybe don't speak the language as well. And so I think lots of people feel like they're being targeted in the workplace because of those things. Now, it can be tricky sometimes to make claims when these issues come up, because people are scared that it's going to be a he said, she said situation, right? I said he treated me badly. He says he didn't. What's the outcome here? There's a really good piece of advice would be to keep a diary. If you feel like you're being discriminated against or bullied or anything like that, anytime something happens, write it down. Doesn't have to be a big thing, just even a little joke, write it down. You don't need witnesses to sign or anything like that. Just the fact that you've got that record that over time, you were being humiliated or belittled, cracking jokes against, things like that, that can be enough to prove that you're bullied. And then you can take that to an organization like ours to try to get justice.
Gabriel, I have here a question from our audience, from our friend Marsha. She said, "Hi, Florence and Gabriel. There are recruiters who ask applicants for their manpower pool to fill in forms, and the forms ask for bank details. Is this legal?"
So sorry, I missed part of the question. Okay. What kind of forms are they?
So there are recruiters. There are recruiters who ask applicants in their manpower pool to fill out a form. And in this form, they are asking for bank details. Is that even legal?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about the specifics of this question. Instinctively, I would say there's probably not a huge issue with that if the company is reputable and so on. If people have any specific concerns about giving their details away, they can always try to get in touch with an organization like ours, and we can try to figure out the specifics of that case. I got to say, though, there are no red flags going off right off the bat for me, but, this is a very general question. So it could be that in their specific case, there was an issue. But it sounds okay. What I wouldn't do, though, is agree to pay any kind of money for a recruiter. Recruiter services are paid by the employer. They're the ones looking for jobs. They're the ones that are looking for workers. They're the ones that pay the recruiters. You should never pay for something like an internship or a job or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe for further questions or follow up on that questions, maybe we can ask you later for your contact details so we can
Yeah,
refer
absolutely.
them directly to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put my details on the screen and everything, so everyone can make an appointment with ours if they need help. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I have a question. I'm not so sure if this will be with Gabriel or with Florence. So like say, I'm a new migrant. I work in cleaning in a hotel. And then they asked me, okay, you lift the bed with your left
The
hand.
true story.
And then with the right hand, you use the vacuum cleaner. Well, technically, if you're a superman, you can do that. Okay? But sometimes these are impossible tasks. Or they tell you there's a big container of delivery outside on your own. Okay, like 25 kilos of that one, boxes like 50 of them. You start bringing it down and bring it to the storeroom on level 2. Something like that is something that you should be doing, because if you don't do it, well, technically they'll kick you out.
Yeah.
So
I think this is a good one for Florence, probably. I can help you if you want any details in any particular area.
I think you shouldn't be really doing it because if, for example, an employer of yours asks you to do something and you think it is unsafe, then you have the right to say no. And that is under the Workplace Health and Safety Acts. It means that your employer should do everything that is reasonably practicable to make sure that you have a safe working environment. And it means like they should provide you not only like PPE, but also training. So in your case, like you said, they expect you to live, what they call this one, a bed and then a bucket, something like that. That is putting you in a risky position. So it is definitely unsafe. So what you should do is you should ask your supervisor that you cannot possibly do the work because of safety reasons. Yeah, and especially if you are not trained to do that work, I think if before you should be doing any of the job, they should actually be putting you in a training or in a workshop or in a proper induction. Because even though you said that you should lift this, for example, 5 kilos, that should be actually they should have actually discussed that with you already before you start your work. Say an example is when I also have my first job in the automotive industry. So we have like we should be able to lift, for example, 5 kilos, 15 kilos, or 20 kilos, or something like that. But it is being given to us during our induction, those informations. And it's good that we have a health and safety representative. So at least we have been trained actually to how to lift that safely or how to do a proper manual handling. But anything that will compromise your safety in your job, if you're not sure that you can do it, and if you think that you're going to get injured, then please stop and just say no and approach your supervisor, or if you have your health and safety representative, you should definitely get in touch with them and then tell them about the situation. So I hope I've answered your question, or if there's any more clarification.
There's a follow-up question on this one. They say, oh, I'm not going to do it. It's not safe. Okay, don't do it. Then I don't want to see you tomorrow.
You're
Go.
sacked. Yeah.
And then you're fired.
That's another right that they that you need to actually ask Gabriel for, because they cannot they cannot dismiss you just for saying no to an unsafe work. I think Gabriel can give you more details about unfair dismissal.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a general principle for all areas of work, whether it's related to safety or not, that you can't be treated badly, or you can't take action against someone for exercising one of their rights, right? So for example, you're being underpaid and you go to your employer and you say, hey, I should be getting paid more, can you please fix it? the employer can't take action against you for doing that. And that doesn't just mean firing you. It can also mean cutting your hours, or, moving you to a different part of the job that is not as pleasant, or, changing your hours around. The idea is that you have the right to exercise your rights at work without any kind of punishment. That extends to things like raising issues of safety and certainly refusing to do unsafe work. Now, especially when it comes to safety, there are extra protections. And if your employer was to punish you in any way for raising a safety issue, again, there are massive fines that the company risks being slapped with. When it comes to safety issues, if you raise a safety issue and your employer doesn't get on it straight away, there are lots of bodies that you can go to for help. The first one that comes to mind is in Victoria is called WorkSafe. So WorkSafe is the government organization that kind of regulates safety in the workplace. And you can go to them even anonymously in some cases and say, hey, I know that this unsafe practice is going on. Can you go please investigate? And they have a really large team of investigators that go out into workplaces, no notice or anything. They just knock on the door and they say, I want to come in, make sure that everything's done properly. And if it's not done properly, they have pretty, high powers to make the employer fix the issues. So safety, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's never going to happen to me. I'm never going to get hurt at work. But it happens. It happens every day. And the question that I usually, suggest people think is, would I be happy with my family member doing this job? Would I be happy with my kid or my wife or a relative doing the job that I'm being asked to do? And if you think that you're not happy for them to do it because it's unsafe, then you shouldn't be doing it either, and you should be trying to get help.
And to add on to this kind of situation, especially all those new migrants that came from the third world country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially the warehousing. I'm in the warehousing industry as well. I don't want to answer questions because Florence and yourself is there, Gabriel. And although there's some situations, especially for new migrants that really don't understand yet what are the best practices here with regards to safety. Sometimes, yes, they're just picking something and then they saw some risk on top of the 3 meter up high there, and they're going to climb from the racks. Sometimes they don't know, but due to lack of orientation and training, and also some practices that they've experienced in the other countries and from their home countries are different from here. So especially in the Philippines, we have those we have those coconut farmers that they usually really climb on the trees.
No harness, no?
No harness.
Yeah.
And then because of hero, the hero mentality. Oh, there's someone there on top, and I want to save him or something. That here it's just like they've been culture shocked because of, okay, stop first, do not act anything unsafe, because sometimes when the hero behavior attacks on him, he just climbed on the members of the racks, and then so it should be. I think these are one of the objectives of MWC. To
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I think in a lot of cases, it's not about information and knowledge. It's really about attitude. We all know when something's dangerous. We know it. It's about changing the attitude and thinking, okay, so I'm from Argentina, and I know, I grew up seeing construction workers on the 4th story. The hat they were wearing, it wasn't a hard hat, it was a baseball cap. And exactly.
It's soft and also comfy.
it's comfy, but it doesn't help you if something falls in your head.
Yes.
And you know, they were working on a fourth story with no harness or anything.
Yeah.
We all remember that, right? And I think, you know, we all came here because we wanted a better life, and I would say our conditions at work are part of that, right? Our conditions at work being better is part of having a better life. It's not just that it's safer in the streets or whatever. It's also about being paid fairly, being treated well, and not being made to do unsafe work. And so changing those attitudes is definitely something that the Migrant Workers Centre wants, you know, is focusing on. And I think the way that you put it, Melvin, is exactly right. You know, don't be a hero. It's not cool. It's not cool to fall off a height and you know, have to explain to your kids why you know, they're not gonna be able to whatever, like enjoy a holiday because now you've lost your job and you know you can't work and so on. That's not being a man. That's stupid. Don't do it.
There are two stories in the newspaper for sure. One is going to be 10% is a hero, number 2 is you're stupid. So there are two stories out there. So
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, I really wanted to ask this. It will sound funny, but I think to a certain degree this is very true. The operative word here is like new migrants, because I think, and we have to agree, if you've been here for a while, you know what works, what doesn't work, what you can and what you cannot do. But because you are a new migrant, we have this like hero mentality, like Gabriel. You have an Argentine temper, you know what I mean? Like the Philippines, we have this like temper as well. So you come to work, you're new in Australia, and then your supervisor keeps yelling and yelling and yelling and shouting and shouting and shouting at you. And obviously I have two choices. Either I hit you now because you talk too much, I slap you because you don't talk to me like that, or I will bite my tongue and I will wait for you outside the door of the building. And then when you walk out, then believe me, I will fix you.
it will turn bad.
If I do that, can Migrant Worker Center help me on this one?
Yeah, I think it goes to the question before bullying and discrimination and harassment. Okay, Flo.
Yeah, he's bullying me, and then I hit you back. So you stop bullying me. I wait for you outside. I mean, that's a classic Filipino mentality if you're a new migrant. We know it's not proper, but
it's a classic Fernando Paul Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, that is exactly the attitude that they are actually expecting from you. So what I am going to tell you is there is a hands-off policy in every workplace. So just in case you are really getting irritated because, for example, they are shouting at you, saying bad things about you, just try to calm down and not not go on that provocation, because once you lift a finger, that is actually even enough reason as well to put you in a really bad situation that they can actually fire you over those matters. So just
inside the workplace. I wait for you outside the workplace. It's no longer workplace.
George.
But the thing is, just make sure that the car park you are talking is really outside the workplace, like not in the vicinity. Okay, so just don't. No, sorry. Even that, I wouldn't condone on those attitude. Like just like I've said, if you can calm down, just please do, because that is not how you're going to react or you're going to resolve those issues. So if someone is trying to get your bad side or saying really bad about you or bullying you, then first things first is to self-manage. Just like I've said, calm down, and then you have to go and see your supervisor. But that is if your supervisor is the one who's bullying you. Other than that, you can also go to your union representative and the health and safety representative. That's why in my first job, we're just so lucky that it is highly unionized. At least we have that added protection that at least we're not be the one who's going to go like one-on-one on all those bullies or on those supervisors. So thing is, I understand the mentality that coming from the Philippines, we try to show off. We really, for example, if a supervisor tells you, oh, Florence, can you clean this up? And then I really don't know how to, just use that, whatever the tools that they're doing to do the cleaning. And I am not trained to do that, but sometimes you say like, maybe that's easy, so I can just try. But really, that is not the good attitude to do. So being a new migrant, if you are going to enter into a job, there are also some questions that you can actually ask your employer to help you. So first of them is you can ask if you have a health and safety representative at your work. And if you do, get their contact numbers, because that will come in handy if there is any questions of it, or if there is any issues that you're going to encounter later on. Also ask if you have a union representative, because your union representative will be the one who's going to, at least you can go through to have your issues at work. And then, of course, the first aid team or the medical team. So all those sorts. So you can actually ask. And also, if there is an incident reporting system in your work, because that is very important.
Yes.
So even just it's a cut, for example, because as a new migrant, we are not so aware of what is the safety culture here in Australia, because it's totally different from the safety culture in the Philippines,
Yes.
So,
Excuse me, is there even safety culture?
It was like, in the Philippines, you lost a finger already and still working.
Yeah.
You have to make do of what there is.
See, but actually, even here in Australia, that is actually also happening. I think there's a lot of cases, where the workers, are already injured, but because their employer wants them to come on, get on the job, and still do that. Because the thing is, those are migrant workers. Actually, that's why Gabriel is right when saying that migrant workers are actually the most vulnerable, because they don't understand yet what are their rights and the safety culture that they should be what do you call this one, be aware, like in Australia. So that's the most important. And the thing is, it's not also illegal to go to your health and safety representative, because one of your rights is actually you have the right for representation, and that goes with your health and safety representative and your union. So that's, but please, hands off policy. Never,
and look,
never ever.
I was going to add something, which is, and I think Florence touched on this, talking about, the union, is that if you have an employer that is, they're not paying you right, they're not treating you right, they're making you angry and so on, they're probably making millions off of paying you wrong, and everyone else in the workplace too. Do you think they're going to care if they can get rid of that, of you as a problem by just getting a slap in the face or a punch in the face? They would gladly see you go for a punch in the face. What they want to do is keep making money, right? And so if you're furious at your boss because they're not treating you right or they're paying you wrong, the best thing that you can do to get back at them is call the union, make sure that every single other worker in your company joins the union with you, and then fix the problem so that you all start getting paid right, treated right, and this unsafe work goes away. That's the real way to get back at your employer, because then they don't get what they really want, which is to make money off you and to make a living off of you, make a killing off of you. So if you're mad at your boss, don't punch him, join your union.
Now, here's my question. What would happen if an injury actually happens at work?
Perfect for Florence.
What's the process, one by one?
What should the worker do?
Okay, first thing that you have to know, if you are injured at work, you have the right to get time off and compensation. So every employer in Australia, they have this insurance called work cover. So it doesn't really matter what your visa status, whether you are international student, what else, even if you don't have Medicare or not, as long as if you are working, you are covered. So it means that if these things happen, for example, at your workplace, the first thing that you need to do is actually to report. So get an incident report, and then of course you tell them or you fill up what happened. And just like I've said, this is where your health and safety representative or your union representative comes in handy, because if you're going to fill up an incident report, just make sure that whatever you have to fill in there is accurate. So if you're, for example, you need someone to tell you or to help you understand what are written in there. So definitely you have to get your health and safety representative and union representative to help you with the form. And then, from then on, we have the one that's called like work cover. And that is a system run by the government body called WorkSafe. So they're the one who's going to process that work cover compensation or something. But the thing is, if you are also badly injured at work and it can lead to your permanent disability or something, then actually that is about workers' compensation as well. So we have like the steps by steps about having like a worker compensation or work cover. And I think it's just that the important thing that you have to know is to file the incident report first, and then talk to your health and safety representative or your union representative to help you with that. And then they're actually going to tell you what are the process from there on. But if you don't have, for example, a health and safety representative or union representative, you can actually ring WorkSafe and ask for advice that you got injured at work. Or to make your life easier, just like I've said, if you have injuries at work, you just can call the Migrant Worker Center, and then they're going to help you with that, or they're going also to refer you to the appropriate, agencies or organizations that can help you with that. So I will pass questions to Gabriel if he have something to add on about the work cover.
Yeah, sure. So I think one thing to add is, first of all, in the system that we have in Victoria, but it's the same in all of Australia, it doesn't matter whose fault it was if you had an injury, right? So if you did something stupid that you shouldn't have done and you got injured as a result, you can still get work cover. You still get the time off paid. You still get the compensation. The idea here isn't to like punish the employer for not having a safe workplace. The idea is to give the worker what they need to recover. And so the system doesn't care whose fault it was. They just need to know, okay, what was the injury? When did it happen? And what do you need to recover? And so the things that you can get are, first of all, paid time off, right? If you need time to recover at home, then you get paid during that time. And any medical bills are paid. And also, like Florence said, if there is a permanent injury, so for example, the what was said before, you lose a finger, well, you don't have that finger ever again. So there's a lump sum payment, a big payment to compensate for that, right? And another thing to say is the incident report. So writing down what happened straight away is really important, but it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be on a company document, and it doesn't have to be formal and blah, blah, blah. The important thing is that it gets recorded straight away. And if that means that you just grab any piece of paper, write it down, and, just make sure to get the names of the people that were there so they can confirm and so on. Just get it down on paper, give it to your employer, keep a copy, but give it to your employer. And that way everyone has to agree, okay, a report happened, this incident definitely took place. What you don't want to happen is, you get hurt, but it's not so bad. You let it go for a bit, and then it starts hurting more. And then you go to the doctor maybe 3 days later. Okay, they recommend that you stay home to recover. But by then, people have forgotten about it. You try to make a claim, and then the boss says, it never happened. There's no record of it. This didn't happen in my workplace. So just make sure to write it down when it happens so that they can't argue about it later on,
Question. So I work in a small business, not highly unionized. I work cash on hand. I'm underpaid. I got injured because I'm international student. So what happens? Am I entitled for these things that we have been talking about for the last 10 minutes? Like, benefits from work cover, paid
Yes.
leave.
Yeah.
How does it work?
So I'll take this one. It's a bit of a tricky one, right? So,
Gabe, just to clarify, this is a colorum style. You know, colorum style means you are not registered on their company. They just ask you to come
I understand.
down and then give you pay after you done your job.
I understand. Yeah. Now, the way that the law works in Australia is, as far as the law is concerned, if you're working for the company, you go in, every day or every week, and they pay you for it, you're their employee. The problem that we're going to have in this situation is not whether you're working for them or not. The problem is, how do we prove it, right? So you come to us and you say, I'm getting underpaid, I got injured at work, I'm an international student, I get paid cash in hand, I don't have a contract, I don't get pay slips or anything like that, help me. What we need is to be able to prove all those things so that when we go to the company to complain, they can't get away from it. So if you find yourself in that situation, start documenting everything that you can, right? It doesn't have to be formal. Again, just the fact that you're recording it makes a huge difference. Text messages from your boss saying, are you coming in tomorrow? Well, that's evidence that you're working for them, right? Records on your phone of where you were on Google Maps, right? If you're going to the same business every day, 9 to 5, well, chances are you're working there or you really love their business, but chances are is you're
You
working.
really love their coffee.
And you have selfie with your boss as well. You have a selfie with your boss.
Can I take a selfie and post it on
Selfie,
Facebook?
boss.
Is that
Absolutely,
evidence?
yeah. Absolutely.
Oh.
Take a selfie in the business in your uniform.
With
Take
your
photos
boss.
with your boss. Take photos of the roster. Take photos of the fact that you're in the tea
roster.
room every
That's why I
day.
always put the roster about.
Yeah. Now, the more evidence that we have, the easier it is to prove that you're a worker. Now, the question isn't whether you have the rights, whether you can access work cover and so on. All of that is a definite yes. The question is, how do we prove it? And so that's what I would be focusing on. If you came to the Migrant Worker Centre, let's put together as many documents as we can so that by the time we go to the employer, they can't refuse. They have to give up.
Oh, and what if they say, that is Photoshop,
Fine. We'll take it to court. We'll let the judge decide if it's Photoshop then. Usually they shut up pretty quickly once we say we might take something further.
When it comes to
So he just gave us an idea.
Yeah, when it comes to employers, they have the allergy of work safe, those when you say work safe and I'm gonna go to work safe. Oh, shut up! They totally shut up. I'm telling you, they have an allergy, a phobia on this kinds of associations.
Because they have to look after their corporate reputation.
Yes.
I think that's the.
Now, I have a cheeky question. Like Miss Florence, you're blooming there. You're like really glowing today.
Oh, just like
Oh my
flowers.
gosh.
Go visit to a workplace. Do you intimidate these employers when you visit them?
No, why would I intimidate? I'll be super friendly that they're going to be shocked when I start intimidating them. Just kidding.
Okay, we have a question from our audience again. Actually, we have so many comments. I just want to read as well. Lan Pastrana says, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Mga Carmelo Gana says, good evening, Papi, Mayora, and Papa George. And Janice Gayago is one of the management in Flowey Connecto, Manuli. He said, record incident report and fill appropriately and report to your supervisor, which is the best process. And also we have one here on the loan officer. Any idea if you are full-time, casual, temporary worker, what are the benefits you can get to your company?
Yeah. So I'm a bit confused. You can be either full-time or casual. So let's assume that they mean you're a casual worker who maybe has full-time hours, and this can happen, right? So you have 38 hours a week, but you're still casual. That can happen. It just means that you're not guaranteed those hours going forward, right? It can change. So there are differences in the conditions that you get from your employer. If you're a casual, your pay is one; it should be higher. Your hours are another one. They're not guaranteed. They can go up and down. The other big difference is with leave. So leave is what we call paid time off, right, or time off. And there are lots of different types of time off that you can get as an employee. The most common ones are sick leave, for example. So you get paid to stay at home if you're sick. Casuals don't get that. Only permanent employees or full-time, part-time, only those employees get sick leave. Annual leave is kind of like holiday pay, right? You get 4 weeks off per year to do whatever you want, take a holiday and so on. Casuals don't get that. In fact, most types of leave, casuals don't get it. Anything to do with safety should be exactly the same. So safety is the same no matter if you're a casual, you're a permanent, even ABN. So even through an ABN, you're still protected from any kind of unsafe work, and you may even be able to get work cover. I think that's pretty much the only difference is the leave. And I would say probably what happens if your employer wants to terminate your job. As a casual, you can be essentially terminated almost any time. There are some exceptions, but if your employer doesn't want you to work for them anymore, they basically can just cut your hours and you no longer work there. If you're a full-time or a part-time, you're protected from being fired unfairly or unlawfully.
Question on casuals. Like say, if you're already working as a casual for the regular set of hours for the last 12 months, is that allowed, or are you meant to be hired as a permanent or at least a part-time employee on your employee status?
Yeah, so this is a common thing that comes up. Many industries and many workplaces have something called casual conversion, which means in a situation like the one that you said, you may be able to request to become a full-time or a part-time. However, I said request, right? So your employer in most cases can still find ways to refuse. So it's not super strong. If you are working in those circumstances for such a long time, I would say it's not guaranteed, but you can try to convert it. And if you're in a union site with an enterprise bargaining agreement, like a collective agreement, then the chances are a lot better than you might be able to convert it, but it's not guaranteed, unfortunately.
Okay.
Wow, this is really a very interesting discussion. And I'm pretty sure our viewers and our listeners, and for those who will watch and listen to this in the future, would learn a lot from Gabriel and Florence. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us this evening. This is really interesting discussion, and we've learned a lot from you.
Great to be here. I might actually just take the opportunity to show our details on the screen, just so that if anyone does need to get help, they can do so. So let me see if I can get this up now. I think you just need to allow for me to share my screen on this.
Actually, I would like to tackle another question. Very
go
important
ahead.
question before doing this, Gabe.
Yeah, for sure.
How about our COVID safety in the workplace on the coming soon? I think it's 15 days or 15 days soon. So Florence, any details about what's going to happen about the COVID certificates or COVID passports onto the workplaces, especially on the permitted cases, COVID safety and passports as well?
Mandatory vaccination, yeah?
Is it mandatory vaccination?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you call this one? It's not like it depends what industry you are on. But if there is a public health order that's saying that your industry should need to vaccinate, of course, so that is the mandatory vaccination that we're talking about, and it depends what your industry will be. So that will be properly assessed by, of course, the public health expert on that one. So if it's a public health order, you should be actually like, let's say, be vaccinated on the days that they tell you that you should be vaccinated. So maybe they can ask for what do you call this one, an evidence. So about passport vaccination system, it's still a raw discussion, so there's no what do you call this one, structure put into that yet, but maybe they can ask for your your vaccination certificate through your health identifier through the Medicare, your digital vaccination certificate,
Yes.
or the small card that they give you when you vaccinate.
Okay.
So maybe they can ask for those ones too. But the thing is, your employer actually, before you go and attend your workplaces, of course, they're going to communicate with you what should they require from you before you even start to go back to your work. So they should be communicating that clearly with you. So there's no blanket approach in each industry. It will really depend on your employer and in your industry. But yeah, just if there's a public health order and your industry, for example, is one that they have mandated to vaccinate, just prepare your evidence that you really have your first shot or your second shot, or that you are booked for your second shot, for example, if you haven't had your full vaccination yet. And of course, the COVID safe protocols is still in place. So as of now, even some of the workers who are still, working in their usual workplaces, they still have to maintain the physical distancing. They still have to wear masks. They still have to do the frequent hand washing, and your employer should still have to do the regular cleaning and disinfecting, as well as they have to follow all the COVID safe protocols. So now I think we are more on the QR codes to at least help us for the tracing system. So that will also take in effect, and any other COVID safe protocols that your employer or your company would be implementing. So those are all related actually to the COVID restrictions that we are having. So yeah, I'm sure your employer will let you know, like what will they require from you before you can even start working. So yep, any questions?
I have a very touchy question. And it happens.
Touchy.
Because I think, was it yesterday or the other day that Dan Andrews made the initial announcement on that one? In fact, for the mandated thing, vaccination.
For all authorized worker?
And literally, that is a very, very, very long list. So that is not only confined to, like, if you're working in a hospital, aged care setting, child care setting, or construction. Not only for, like, pretty much everything and anywhere. I was trying to do a Google search. Which industry is not covered? By the looks of it, nothing.
Everything is
Everyone
covered.
is on that list.
If you are an authorized worker, of course, then you should be included on that one. So it's not really a particular industry, but if you are an authorized worker, then yeah. So
And then this is my question, and this is what divides a lot of people, into a lot of argument. And what if it's a public health order, and then I say, no, I don't want to get vaccinated, and then can I lose my job? What can I do? I know it's a very touchy and sensitive question. It's very early on because there's no actual details yet, but that is kind of where the direction is.
Look, I think there's probably no black and white answer to this yet, frankly, because it hasn't happened. As far as I know, no one has been fired for not having a vaccine, and so it hasn't gone to court. And generally, that's how these things, when something really new happens, the way that we kind of determine what's legal and what's not in specific cases, it's someone has to take it to court, and then a precedent is set, and then we go with that. And I think it basically hasn't happened yet, so I can't give you a definitive answer as to whether it's legal or not. What I can say, though, is that we can think of the vaccination in a safety context, where if someone is told that in order for everyone to be safe at work, they need to do the work this particular way, or they need to wear this particular equipment or whatever. They need to go through this training, and they don't do that, then, I think rightly they can be punished for that. Putting people in harm's way is nothing to be, flippant about.
Exactly.
And I think, going to work unvaccinated can be thought of in a similar way. It puts everyone at risk. And so we would encourage everyone to get vaccinated if your doctor, recommends that you do. And, the vaccines are safe. So they're the best thing that you can do if you have any concerns is go to your doctor, make sure that, you are as well educated about it as you can.
Yeah, I had a follow-up testimonial on that. At the moment, just last Thursday, I've all of the agencies in our company, agency employees are required to have the vaccination permit because because there are so many agencies there. They said that if you don't comply, just look for another agency because we can't represent you. This is a this is a workplace safety, and PPE is the most. I mean, it's a list that we can give you. So I think it's the health and safety OHS. They're putting it as an OHS issue that the hierarchy of controls. The PPE is the most.
You're very well educated about this.
Yeah, Liz.
How much it will cost to sue the government? Actually, if I want to do this, I mean seriously, if it costs me $10, I will sue. But if it will cost me 1 million for
To sue the government for what?
Yeah, because of this vaccination thing, I want to pursue this because I want to save my $20 per hour, 20 hours per week. If it costs me 1 million, is it worth spending 1 million just to get your $20 per hour?
Oh,
Can I
if you're
answer?
being underpaid,
Can I
is that what
answer,
you're
Gabe?
asking?
No. If you wanna
Because
test
Papa
and
George,
this.
it's we call it it's a business point of view that if someone's positive, you're going to be a tier 1 positive, then you're going to close your company for 15 days to 21 days. So
Yes.
it's a big risk. If you're earning million a day, you're going to lose 21
20
million.
million.
So
Yeah.
it's a business point of
No.
view. as well.
This is from an employee point.
Yeah.
Because I can just say, oh, you're discriminating me. This is against what I believe in. Blah 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 blah. And if I cannot get it, then I will sue you. Question. I mean, I'm asking this more on the practical side of things. Because if I'm going to sue the government, file it in court, and they will charge me $20 for the whole exercise. Yeah, I think I have $20. I can do that. But if it will cost me $1 million just to go through that exercise and sue the government or my company. So in return, I can get my 20 hours worth of work for $20 an hour. I mean, practicality.
Plus, you have to, you also have to think it's a very lengthy process, especially that there's, just like I've said, it's a very raw and there's not a lot of that happened right now. So you can just expect, for example, how much are you going to pay the court? How much are you going to go, for example, if you need to do some or get some documents or something, and how long will it take for the court, for example, to give a decision on that one? You have to, as an employee, for example, I also have to be practical on the money, on the income side of things. So for example, although I'm not going to do this, for example, if I saw the government or something, so imagine how much I am going to be spending, and not only about the money, it's also my time. And what if I can just go and look for another job that wouldn't allow me, for example, to go vaccinated? Wouldn't you think that's more practical rather than insisting on something? So for example, that will, just like I've said, cost me my job, cost me my money, cost me my time. So I don't know, that's just
I think that's exactly the point I was trying to get, because a lot of us were so passionate. No, I mean, that is discrimination. Yes, okay, yeah. That's your opinion. If you wanna push this, do you have the, like you were saying, Miss Florence?
Yeah.
Do you have the time?
Actually, Papa George is
Do
the
you have
same.
the resources?
Actually, Papa George is the same with the Dunkin' Donuts issues in Pinoy and Melbourne. They said they're going to put it on CAV in Consumer Affairs.
Consumer
That's
Affairs
stupid.
Victoria.
Yeah, so that's the same thing with that. You know, I mean, those are unnecessary. That you're going to just waste your time and effort on something that you cannot.
But a lot
force.
of people don't realize it's actually a waste of time and effort to actually
that's it.
sue. Because they think they go file the court, pay $20 for filing fee. That's it, done, dusted. But what a lot of people realize, yeah, that's your opinion. You want to pursue it. Well, it will cost you money. It will cost you time. It will cost you a lot of efforts. At the end of the day, is it really worth it? Like I think Miss Florence hit the point.
Yeah.
Well, instead of, if you're prepared to do that, then do it. If you're not, well, might as well look for another job, like, who you can, give your skill set there and deliver something, and then without them requiring you to have your vaccination.
Also,
I think that's the other
one
side.
more thing. There's Genesis Gayago here, is one of the corporate management personalities. They said, as for safety regulation and concerns, anything that may cause harm, danger to others is a sackable offense. So they're just preventing someone to get sacked as well. And in my industrial point of view, I think the business nowadays are they're not closed. It's hard to prove to the government that your business should be open because of COVID. That means there are so many businesses that are closed nowadays for 2 years now, almost for 2 years, and you're lucky that your business is open. And I think that's a big risk for the business, that you're going to violate COVID rules and restrictions, and then end up being get your businesses closed. So I think those are preventive measures as well for these businesses to to gamble with these kinds of opinions, or we call it rights. They were rights. We call it. They have the rights, but we have the right to choose as well. Who are the employees that we're going to accept, and will give us more asset, instead helping more to get more jobs, giving jobs to the industrial community, instead of close because of COVID restrictions. So that's I think, yeah, Genesis Genesis just replied exactly. Just roll up your sleeves and get the job done. So that's in the industrial management point of view. So
And
and then Florence?
I think it's not only that, like, if you are really passionate about safety, just like me, for example, okay, there is only one motto that I've been living, like, think of the next person. So it means, like, any decision that you have to make, any choices that you have to make, you should be also accountable on all the consequences. So it's not only about you, it's also about other people. So I think although I can understand that, of course, it's your freedom of choice, yes. And to me, for example, I make an informed choice, so that's my right. And if you think like your right, for example, to not vaccinated is your choice, then yes, that's your choice. But just like I've said, also think of the next person. It's not only you. The whole economy, like, is suffering. Like, is there any other way, like, we can open the economy, for example, that we are not getting to, we're not going to do the vaccination? Is there? That's why when we have this race for getting all the vaccines that are needed, like almost all countries really, they are racing to get their hands on whatever they can, so that the population will get vaccinated. Yeah. And now that it's here, like, now it's a matter of, okay, are you going to take the shot or not? But to me as well, like, because my brother is actually a nurse, he's a frontline worker in the Philippines, and I am always praying hard for him, because the thing right now is, like, everyone in the world is have this issue about getting the shot. But the medical field, actually where he belongs, they are already losing their hope. Like, is there these people that they need to save, for example, like, are they thinking as well for their safety? So it's really it's a matter of also a choice, but think about your conscience as well, and think of the next person and the other people. So it's not only about you, it's about us, it's about everyone. Yeah.
All right. So any more further questions, clarifications, more supporting statements about COVID in the workplace? So if there's none, let us give Gabriel the floor.
Yeah.
Go, Gabe.
Yeah, so just one thing that I'm thinking of before I put our details on the screen regarding COVID is to do with safety while working from home, just as a final thing. Lots of people working from home, all of us at least, it looks like, based on our video. During the time that you work from home, your home is your workplace, and the law applies just as if you were in the factory floor or an office or anything like that. Your employer is still responsible for your safety if you're at home, and that means providing you with what you need, right? So if you didn't have a desk, they should give you a desk. You didn't have a proper chair to work from home, they should give you the chair. All these sorts of things. Similar, if you get injured while you're working from home, you're still covered. So just as a final little COVID tip. Now, what I was going to do is put our details up on the screen. So we basically take appointments through our website, and that's the best way to reach us. So you can go to www.migrantworkers.org.au. There's a button there that says Get Help, and you can make an appointment with any of our community organizers. And we have multiple languages that community organizers speak in. Unfortunately, not Tagalog or Filipino, but you can always ask for an interpreter and we'll arrange one for you. And we are always 100% free. We're not going to charge a cent for anything that we do, and confidential, right? We don't report to your employer, to the government, or anybody at all unless you want us to. So you can always get in touch with us with any issue that you have. And also to say, if you're not sure who you should go to for help, you can always make an appointment with us, right? I know that sometimes, you have an issue at work and you think, oh, Florence said that for some things I should go to WorkSafe, but then for other things I should go to Fair Work. And what if it's the Equal Rights Commission? Don't worry about it. You can just make an appointment with us. And if we can't help you directly, then we'll find the right organization and we'll refer you on to them directly. So, any issue that you've got at work, come to us. And if we're not the right ones, we'll make sure that you get in touch with the ones that are. As well as that, we believe that as migrant workers, we all have to support each other, right? We are away from our families in many cases. We don't have the kind of support networks that we had back home. And so we got to rely on each other. And to do that, we run a volunteer network where we get together, we support each other, and we campaign to improve our rights while we're in Australia. If that's something that you're interested in doing, then you can volunteer with us through our website as well. And we, run regular meetings and campaigns, and Florence has been very active in it. She can speak a bit to that as well. And we'd love to hear from any of you that want to campaign for better rights for migrant workers in Australia.
Yeah, I am a volunteer. It's really good. You can feel the solidarity and as a one family, and it's good to make something like for better change. So I'm encouraging everyone to volunteer because I am also one of their active volunteers, as Gabriel have said. So yeah.
Fantastic. And I think other than that, just wanted to say thank you all for having us, and hope that we can keep working together to share the knowledge. For anyone that's been for anyone that's been listening in, definitely don't keep this information to yourself. We got to share it around our communities to make sure that everyone is protected at work. I think that's all for us.
Yes, please come back for another info session, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mayora. Thanks, Melvin and Papa Georgie.
Yeah. Thank you too. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Flo, wag ka daw munang aalis.
Why?
Because there are some messages from you from the Philippines here.
Why? Oh my God.
From Director Michael Makusi.
Wow.
And also from, hello Ate Florence, sabi niya. From Jasmine Flores. Hi, Sis Florence Makusi Dato, well done. And also from Dominic Makusi, sending love from the Philippines. And
That's
from Joanne Ragandap, we love you, Cousin Florence, watching from the Philippines. All right.
Oh,
So you have so
Oh,
many
So
wow.
fans.
Gabriel, we're being seen in the Philippines as we
daming
speak.
fans.
Oh, I didn't know
Daming
you had a fan club, Florence.
Yeah. And also Mirna Labaine. Sabi niya, hi sis. Oh, any shout outs? Any more shout outs there? Any fans of any fans club, president of the fans club of Florence?
Florence.
Oh my
please,
God.
Please,
What about Gabriel's fans club?
yes, please type 1 for
Oh,
fans club.
Gabriel has a lot of fans club, I'm telling you.
Anyways,
Even Pasco, they try to. He's got a lot of pogi points already.
Very
Oh, yeah.
good.
Yep.
Hey,
Because it's
Mr.
a very-
Gabriel,
Oh, by
They
the way,
always ask
Gabriel,
this,
if you
are
want to
you-
learn Filipino, join our class.
Mr. Gabriel,
Yeah, I'll have
are
to.
you
I'll have to.
are you single, married, taken, seeing someone?
He's married.
Oh, now a lot of girls
sorry.
disappointed.
Broke so many
Uh,
hearts.
No more iPhone
The
13
viewers are gonna
girls.
grow up like this, right? No, very,
Over
very
iPhone
happily
13
married
girls.
to a wonderful wife, and we had a baby, first baby this year. He's just turned
Is it?
9 months old the other day.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're not the first one to ask him that, Papa Georgie.
Because we asked that to most of our, how do you call that? Most of our guests, yeah?
Why didn't you ask me
I
then?
see.
No, just kidding.
I already
We have
know
so
you
many
already,
female,
like,
we have
like
so many
Gabriel,
female
you're happily
associations
married.
So,
Very happily married.
all right.
I have a question for Gabriel
Oh.
before we let him go. This is
Okay.
normally George's question, but I'll ask him. Gabriel, have you ever tried Filipino dish?
I don't think I've ever been to a Filipino restaurant. I
That
had
means
like a proper
Florence is not
Filipino
bringing
meal. Yeah,
Florence,
I
bring some,
actually don't
Florence.
think. I'm sure that I've had many Filipino dishes, but I can't think of any right now.
Adobo
Okay,
or
so,
menudo,
Oh, of course
mechado.
I've had adobo. Yeah. Of course I've
In
had
case
adobo.
the lockdown is lifted, then we'll invite you sometime to dine with Good Vibes
Please.
Filipinas.
Yes.
So you can
I missed the Filipino
Filipino.
community barbecue that happened recently in the West. I'm looking forward to the next one towards the end of the year, I hope.
Oh, we're gonna
Yeah,
have
we'll
a
have-
concert with Food Fest on
Yes.
January, and you're more than welcome to join us. We'll send
I'll
you.
be there. I'm putting it in my calendar today.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right.
Done.
Thanks so much, and see you again, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Oh, good discussion.
Oy.
Alam mo, ninenervous ako yung tanong yung huling-huli, yung huling tanong. Yung tungkol doon sa mandatory vaccine kasi napaka-recent yung announcement. Actually,
Yes.
wala pang clarity on that one. So sabi ko, baka we might be putting them in a very awkward position kasi kasi alam ko maraming magtatanong tungkol doon eh.
Well,
Which is still a very touchy
interview,
subject.
sabi nga ni Papa Genesis, companies are mandated by the law to have a safety workplace and environment. They are mandated, they're required. So, suppose that they have the right to choose to hire or employ only vaccinated workers to comply in the health and safety regulations of Australia. So,
Yes.
if you don't want to work with kung yun ang mandato ng gobyerno, as they're being given the kumbaga ng certificates and all the permits to operate, and they had to choose, then the one with the rights not to have a job need to choose as well where to go.
Yeah.
There should be one workplace or two or three that's accepting some principles would like them. You know what I mean? Mayora and Papa George. Meron sigurado. Ayun, ayoko na mag-English. Dumudugo na naman ito.
Oo nga, sabi ko nga, ba't parang may
English
hangover
na
si
naman
Papa
dito?
Melvin?
Why? Dapat tapos na yung Englishments natin. Kanina pang 5
Namalis
minutes.
na si Gab.
Oo, 5 minutes na. Sabi ko, tapos na. Dapat hindi na tayo nag-i-English. But to set the
Yan, nag-English
eto
ka
na
pa rin
naman, to set the record straight actually. Ang hirap kasi ng isang company, ng isang association or organization na mag-operate na mayroon kang risk, mayroon kang nababahala ka sa health, especially sa health. Kasi tingnan mo, sige, kailangan ko yung hours nyo, that's why I'm paying you. Kaya ako kayo kaya ako kayo hinar para yung availability nyo. Your availability is our requirement. Kailangan available kayo dyan. Kung hindi kayo available kasi COVID positive kayo 14 days and napunta pa kayo sa ventilator, 'di ba? Cargo pa namin kayo and also mada-downtime kami and also mawawalan kami ng working hours. So kulang kami ng tao. So ganun din naman, they have the rights to choose kung sino yung pwede kong kunin. So parang ano 'yan eh. Kahit nga sa US, it's worldwide. You know, wag na nating sabihin na kayo lang. 'Di ba? It's worldwide already, even in the NBA. Lahat ng players, lahat ng staff, lahat ng companies na miyembro ng association, National Basketball Association, National Football League, they are required. Kasi nga pupunta ka naman sa ibang places, 'di ba? Bago ka, syempre kung hindi ka vaccinated, mag-isolate ka naman for 14 days, nasaan na yung time mo? Maubos yung time mo sa pera mo sa hotel, 'di ba? So
Hindi ko lang talaga, I know. I just can't get it why other people are anti-vax. I just don't get it.
Worldwide na kasi,
I just felt and you know that my position, mga besties, I take this personally talaga kasi you know what happened to me recently lang, you know. I lost someone I love from COVID. And as I said, this is not something you'll wish for even your worst enemy. It's really, I take it personally. So I really felt sad that there are people who doesn't want to protect themselves, doesn't want to protect their loved ones, and doesn't want to protect the community. You know, the fight is not against the government. The fight is not against the rules or the policy. The fight is against COVID. So you probably should know your fight. You know, there are battles that worth fighting for, and there are battles that are just seriously crazy that you're fighting for. If it's, you know what I mean? So you choose your battles, really. Kasi pagka hindi ka, if you don't equip yourself against COVID, ikaw yung talo. Kasi hindi ka naman mananalo kay COVID.
Tsaka, Kamayora, Papa George, nasaan yung welga? I am challenging them now na magwelga sila. Ngayon na nalaman nila.
Hindi, kasi karamihan ang malaking portion na nasa ospital nga ngayon.
Kaya nga, that's why guys sila magwelga.
That's the point nga.
Hindi mo, pag nakarecover na after 14 days, magwewelga ulit yan.
Nalaman kasi nila na may positive, maraming positive dun sa sa nagwelga. O ngayon, ba't kayo takot ngayon? Takot naman pala kayo
pagka nakarecover ng 14 days yan, magwewelga ulit yan. Iba naman ang ipaglalaban yan.
I just really hope na walang mamatay doon sa mga. And that's really sad kasi alam mo, during the first wave, nung wala pa tayong vaccine, we lost 700 lives. Yes. Pero ngayon na may vaccine na, ang sakit sa puso na we're losing 5 people, one person, we're losing lives. Ang sakit sa puso noon, considering na dapat hindi na nangyayari kasi may available na yung vaccine. You know, before there was vaccine, people were saying like, when are we gonna get the vaccine? You know, let's order vaccine. Australia's gonna be the first to order the vaccine. And now that there's vaccine, ayaw nyo naman. So, what could be done?
Sala sa init, sala sa lamig.
I know.
And one more thing.
Pero alam mo,
to add doon sa ni Mayora, Papa George, bigyan kita ng way after this. Siguro, I had lost 10 friends and families because of COVID. Hindi lang ako nagsasalita.
Same here.
What if,
I have lost
minsan
so
gusto
many
ko
people
ipagpalitin na
already.
lang yung buhay nila sa buhay.
That's why I
Di
take
ba?
it personally na eh.
Because
You
if
know?
may vaccine sila, bago sila bago nangyari, nagkaroon sila ng positive case, buhay pa sila ngayon eh.
Mm.
If I will trade yung lives ng nagwiwelga, tsaka yung buhay ng mga nawala sa akin, I will. That is very personal. Wala akong regrets kung sinasabi mo yan. Kasi you're wasting our efforts, our time, and the lives of the frontliners. Lalo na ngayon, ang misis ko, nurse, frontliner, mga kapatid ko, doktor, nasa medical field, mga aunties ko, doktor, pharmacist, nurses, kahit saan. Sa US, mga pinsan ko, nurses and everyone. They are fighting for the humanity. For humanity, they're fighting for humanity. Not for
Alam mo,
your
so
principles.
exhausted na, but they don't give up.
Because of your freaking rights, silang mag-suffer? That's
so
bullshit.
unfair.
That's unfair.
That's why I take it.
Yung
Tama,
akin,
alam mo yun, that's why I said, I take this personally. Personal talaga
Personal na
sa akin.
eh.
Kaya upset
Personal
talaga
sa
ako.
akin.
ang sa akin naman ito, pipick up ko yung sasabi ni Papa Melvin. Asa na ngayon yung mga nagrarally? In fact, tuwing umaga nga, tinitingnan ko kung anong ba nangyayari dyan.
Oo.
I think it boils down to kung ganong
Kadami.
totoo.
Kung medyo kung zero, kung mga 10 lang, 15, magrarally yan. Di ba? Pero pag mga 1,000, hinto sila lahat. Di ko alam kung may number game lang sila eh. Pag 1,000 bukas ha. Di ba?
Hindi, pero ang tingin ko dyan, tuloy sa sabi mo, nasaan ba yung mga taong yan? Well, nasa balita naman yan. Hindi, nasa balita yan na talagang iba doon sa mga nandun na actually nasa isolation, iba nasa ospital. Kaya ang tanong nga dyan is, gano'ng katotoo sa'yo itong issue na to? How real is COVID to you personally? Katulad mo nga, sabi mo nga ni Papa Melvin, 10 na yata sa kamag-anak mo talagang nagdisgrasya ng COVID. Si Mayora, tawag dito, yung isa sa napaka-recent. Sa pamilya ko, 2 na sa Pilipinas. Itong mga nagrarally na to, well, technically, hindi, pero ang sasabi ko, up to that point na hindi totoo sa iyan, well, syempre, paglalaban mo, my body, my rights, blah, 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 blah. Pero kung katulad nun, nalaman nila dahil sa isang malaking gathering nila, ilan doon sa mga kasama, for sure, mga iba doon, kakilala nila, nasa ospital, tinamaan ng COVID, suddenly, bang. Kaya lang, ang problema nila ngayon, well, silent sila, nasabihin, hindi, totoo pala talaga COVID, ano? Na talaga palang, ganun pala itsura kapag nagka-COVID ka, talagang masakit sa dibdib, hindi ka makahinga.
Mapatindi pa doon, may symptoms na sila, ayaw pang magpa-test. Kasi nga, nahihiya silang biglang, yung mga sinasabi nila sa gobyerno, makita nila na lumabas, mali pala ako, welga pa ako. Kaya ayaw nilang lumabas ngayon. That's it. So, kasi parang kinain nila yung mga sinabi nila.
Exactly. Well, anyway, kaya nga ang katulad nga nung sinasabi ko, yung iba, well, ganong katotoo yung totoo sa iyo. Kasi like ba, katulad sa atin, yung katulad ng mga bisita natin kanina, we can talk about bullying and harassment. Hanggang hindi ka nabubully sa workplace, hindi mo maintindihan niya. Ganun pala pakiramdam nun. Isipin mo, pag kaliwang kamay mo, nasa iba, iangat mo, kama, tapos sa kanan mo, binabacuum yung ilalim ng tapos inuutos sa'yo yun. Kasi nga, bagong-bago ka sa Australia, well, hanggang hindi mo nadadaanan yun, hindi mo maintindihan na yung palang tinatawag ng work safe, you have to protect yourself. So hanggang hindi mo nadadaanan yun, hindi totoo, hindi mo maintindihan.
Papa George, ito magandang itong ni Genesis. Sabi ni Genesis, ito as a management, mahirap i-deal to. Ito. Sabi ni Genesis, can you imagine, Papi, na magreklamo yung worker sa co-worker niya na hindi vaccinated and use safety as a case against the other worker na hindi vaccinated? I guess medyo mahirap rights versus safety. That's it. Because I am feeding my own family. I'm working because I need something on something to put on my table, on my family's table. That's why I'm working. If you are not vaccinated and you're going to compromise my job, my family's safety, magkakaroon ng problema. And that's the thing na management will anong gagawin namin sa rights nyo sa rights ng iba, di ba? So lalo magkakaroon ng chaos kasi magbubugbugan kayo sa loob ng ng workplace. So those are the preventive measures as well ng management to let this happen to his company. 'di ba? Yung may nagbubugbugan, yung friction, 'di ba? Samantala ang company, inukuha natin yung culture, saka yung teamwork culture para sa operations, tapos ngayon magkakaiba-iba ng pananaw at 'di ba? Magkakahiwa-hiwala yung pananaw because of COVID. And sabi niya, I wonder how the government and WorkSafe will deal with it. I think wala na lang silang masabi. I think ang masasabi na lang sila, what is your take kasi ikaw ang gumawa ng inyong ng inyong COVID safety plan. 'Di ba? Kung ano yung nasa COVID safety plan mo company, ikaw nang bahala as long as you comply with us. Ganun ang sasabihin ng gobyerno. Kasi each and every government, iba-iba ng safety plan yan. Kung ano yung sinabit mong COVID safety plan, yun ang susundin mo and yun ang pinirmahan ng gobyerno. So as long as you are, 'di ba, in line with your COVID safety plan, wala kang problema. Kasi yun lang ang i-audit ng gobyerno eh. Sige Papa George.
Kasi kanina, bago ako mag-onboard, nag-Google search nga ako eh. What are my rights tungkol doon sa, kung ayaw ko magpa-vaccinate, blah, blah. Ngayon, pagka binalikan mo yung announcement ni Dan Andrews the other day, hindi naman pala ito yung bill na pinropose ng isang member of parliament na pinagdebatihan, na pass into law, to bill, blah, blah, blah. Hindi pala. Very strategic ang galaw nila rito. Ang ginawa nila, it is a public health order. So hindi siya law. Kasi pagka pinas ng parliament, whichever parliament, whether state or federal, feeling ko lang. Kasi pwede mo challenge sa Supreme Court eh.
Yes.
'Di ba? Sasabihin mo unconstitutional or violates blah blah blah. Hindi nang ginamit nilang pathway eh. Ang ginamit nilang strategy, it's a public health advice order.
Yeah.
And sinasabi ni Dan Andrew, pag public health, walang exception yan. Kasi yung COVID, hindi naman namimili yan.
True.
Kahit na sino tamaan niya eh. So dahil yun, mahirap i-contest yan. Ngayon, nag-Google search ako. Actually, doon sa thread na yun, meron palang website, yung humanrights.vic.gov.au. Binuksan ko yun. Actually, nakalagay doon, explainer, mandatory COVID-19 vaccination and your rights. So it's a legitimate resource na makikita mo sa website, sa internet. Ang sinasabi nila dito, vaccination status is not a protected attribute under Equal Opportunity Act. Well, anyway, nandito yan. So I think that's a very good read.
Too much freedom, Papa George. Ang tawag dyan is too much freedom. Too much democracy.
Pero ibig sabihin nun, pag i-argue mo pala na yung vaccination is equal opportunity, kasi hindi equal yung opportunity, actually, dahil nga yung public health order plus yung vaccination status, well, technically, hindi siya magka-qualify under equal kasi hindi siya attribute. And I think, pag sinabi mong equal opportunity, kung ina-argue mo na hindi ka tinatanggap sa trabaho kasi the color of your skin, o dahil ito yung religion mo, di ba? O kaya ito yung ito yung race mo, yun talaga, very well.
Papa George, parang ano yung Papa George sa US, sa Texas, sa workplace, sa Texas, ang mga tao doon allowed mag-carry ng baril kahit saan. So ibig sabihin ba, since may rights ka na mag-carry ng baril sa workplace, magdadala ka ng baril? Those are the things na, you know what I mean? Common sense, yun nga sabi na, it is not a protected attribute pag may public health order. It is not discriminating. So, yes, hindi mo pwedeng i-prove yung rights mo sa safety ng tao. Paano kung bigla ka na mademonyo, bigla ka mamaril dyan? Those are the things na parehas siya ng COVID.
Kaya nga yun ang tinanong ko kanina eh. Kasi kung i-contest ko to at ang charge lang nito $20, may $20 ako, sige, demanda mo. Kahit sinong demanda mo. Kahit demanda mo 3 beses, $60. Pero kung aabutin ka ng 1 million, may question, meron ka ba 1 million? Wala ka na magagawa. Kasi public health order mo eh. Hindi naman siya dahil, anong tawag dito? Yung pagpaligid natin na batas lang ng barangay chairman. Hindi ganito to. Ano to? Mas malawakan.
Pero Papa George, meron politician sa sa New South Wales na encouraging na this vaccination is dapat dapat fair to sa atin na dapat hindi tayo discriminate. One is foremost, i-challenge ko yung politician na yan. Get the virus first. Make yourself as a guinea pig para maramdaman mo kung ano talagang merong COVID. 'Di ba? Ano yung sinasuffer ng nasa ngayon, nasa ventilator ngayon. Get kung may sinasabi ka about these kinds of rights, itong ikaw ang gumagawa ng sarili mo, hindi mo pa na-experience eh. Ang challenge ko yung politician na yan, get the virus by yourself and make yourself as a guinea pig.
Sunday, madali lang yan, Papa Melvin. Alam mo, madali niyan. Di ba meron tayong gawa ng t-shirt? Lagay mo lang dyan, I have COVID. Sige tayo, audience.
Yan.
Pagkatito, kunyari,
Papa
uupo ka.
George, ang galing mo talaga, Papa George. Nahulaan mo naman yung proyekto ng Good Vibes Pilipinas. Nahulaan mo naman yung project natin.
Tapos kunyari, uupo ka ganyan, tapos kakawin mo, thank you, maraming tayo. Di ko alam kung gusto niya bang yakapin ka pa niya. Baka nervousin niya na.
Ay nako, I hope lang they don't get infected.
Ako, minsan,
pero alam mo, bait-bait ni Mayoran.
I hope they get infected.
Oo nga, sabi ko sa'yo, this is not something I would wish for my worst enemy.
I will. Para yung mga nagsasalita, malaman na, para alam mo, to see is to believe.
Kawawa sila.
Pero actually, merong may sinabi si Dan Andrews nung isang araw. Sabi niya, and I think meron talagang sense to. Sabi niya, I will not take lecture about freedom from people who will hold us back.
And also blame.
From reopening.
I will not blame others. Di ba? Yun ang sinasabi ni Mel.
Di ba yan? So sabihin, if you're talking about freedom, actually, ito nga yung yung ticket natin para makapagbukas tayo so we can enjoy kung ano man yung hopefully nung bago nag-COVID. So, it's very interesting. And magandang tingnan ko anong mangyayari for the next few days. It will be, tawag dito, pagka anong itsura nung actual na public health order na i-issue. Kasi apparently, in-expand na sa lahat ng ng, tawag dito, yung worker, yung registered worker or yung permitted worker. Apparently, lahat yun across all industries. Kaya nga tanong ko kanina, ano bang industry ang hindi? Kasi, bawa,
Papa George, if you have COVID safety plan, means
it means to say you have to have
vaccine. So, kasi yung approved na COVID safety plan, yun lang yung mga nag-ooperate sa ngayon. So,
pero ito yung maraming tao hindi kasi nakakaintindi. Sample, Papa Melvin, nagtatrabaho ako sa cafe. Di ang maharap lang naman dyan sa customer, yung kahera, di ba? Siya kumukuha ng order. So, dapat siya, COVID. Ako naman, di naman ako maharap sa customer. Doon lang ako sa likod. Dishwasher ako, no?
Still,
so,
you have the tendency.
Hindi, yung ang sasabi ko Kasi a lot of people will think, hindi naman ako maharap sa, sa mga guests. Doon lang ako sa likod. Hugas lang ako ng pinggan. But I think what they're failing to realize is, ang problema mo, workspace yun So, kaya kung ikaw ang nagdi-deliver, ikaw ang nagpi-pick up, tagahugas ka ng pinggan, ikaw yung chef, ikaw yung assistant chef, ikaw lang yung taga-tadtad ng mga sibuyas, basta nasa loob ka ng workspace, nasa workplace yun, well, technically, covered that yun. Kaya kasi marami nagsasabi, hindi naman ako maharap. Ultimo sa hotel, hindi naman kami humarap sa guest. Pag naglinis kami ng kwarto, wala namang guest yan. Kaya lang, ang problema nga ron, pag nasa loob ka ng hotel, which is ano mo tawag ito? Essential service, so to speak. Di ganun din, lahat ng magre-report doon, dapat COVID vaccinated. Kay room attendant ka, kay front desk manager ka, kahit na porter ka, pagka pumasok ka doon, lahat kayo dapat ganun. Maraming tao hindi naiintindihan yung punto.
Papa George, even ata yung mga nasa work at home, they're requiring. Kasi once na balik kayo, for example, pinatawag kayo sa meeting, you need to be vaccinated. So I think all employees ng lahat ng Yun ang nakita ko dun sa
Isa lang ang solusyon diyan, Papa Melvin kung talagang ayaw,
wala pa na iba.
At exactly, ngayon kung hindi sa Victoria, well technically kahit sa pumunta ng Victoria pareho, no? So wala. So lumipat ka kaya ng state. Ano kaya state ang tatanggapin kang ganun sa? Hindi, New South Wales, pwede ba? Mukhang hindi.
Mukhang New South Wales.
So hindi ka pwede mag-Sydney. Pagpunta ka ng Tasmania, malamang hindi na.
Even airport tsaka yung hahanapan ka ng COVID certification mo.
Kung lumipat ka ako sa New Zealand.
Uwi ka na lang ng Pilipinas.
Pumunta ka na
Hindi,
lang sa
pagdating dun.
sa bundok, doon ka, maging Tarzan ka doon, at least walang
Ayun ang sinasabi ko. Ngayon, kung ayaw nyong sumunod at masyado kayong pinaglalaban yung, well, obviously, wala naman nagsasabi, it's not your right. You know? Kaya lang, for practical reason, ito yung nangyaring yun. Well, kung ayaw mo kung hindi pwede rito, di balikan tayo sa Pilipinas. Kaya lang, pagdating mo sa Pilipinas, ganun din eh. Pupunta ka nga sa palengke, hingi ka pa rin ng clearance.
problema mo, walang
eh.
Medicare doon. Hindi libre ang hospital doon. Kaya
Eh,
ayaw mo umuwi. Diba?
At least, siya doon. Walang kukulit sa kanya na magpabaksinate. Pero ganun din, you'll be subjected. Di ba, doon, pupunta ka lang ng palengke, lalo ng kataasan. Kailangan mo ng permit doon sa barangay para makalabas.
Ang mahal ng permit, kada permit mo may bayad.
Kaya wala kaya pupuntahan na, hindi. So, it's just a matter of you learn to live with this.
You need to evolve. You need to evolve. Yun importante. Evolution eh. You need to evolve.
Evolve din pag may time.
Sabi ni El Federico, duty of care.
Yes.
Pero alam mo, isa sa mga argument, the usual, na pag-uusapan to, I have the right. Yes, you have the right. This is my entitlement. Pero actually, if you really look at it, may kalakip pala yung rights mo. Yung tatawag doon, responsibility.
Yes.
So, maraming tao, nakikita lang yung right. Pero hindi nila alam.
Duty, yun.
Ayun, hindi nila, I mean, there's another side to that one. Part of, exercising your right. Dapat, you have to exercise your responsibility rin. So, hindi pala pwedeng nasa loob ka ng sinihan, may freedom of speech ako eh. Hindi sumigaw ka ng sunog sa loob ng sinihan. Well, technically, it's not gonna happen kasi may freedom of speech ka nga. Pero it doesn't mean na sa loob ng sinihan, pwede ka magsisigaw doon na sunog, na wala naman sunog. Kasi yun yung responsibility. You have to be responsible. Correct. And unfortunately, dito, sabi nga nila it's my body, it's my right. Yes, so you made your choice. I also have the right to protect myself. I also have the right to protect my family. So, paano yun? Nasa loob tayo ng isang kwarto. So, yung bang right nila, mas malakas? Mas powerful ba yung right nila over my right? O yung bang right natin is mas powerful sa right nila? Actually, pareho lang tayong may right. Kaya lang, ang labanan dito, kasi nga, it's a pandemic, di ba?
Papa George, ito yan, saka Mayora. Ito na lang, pinaka-last example kasi 10 o'clock na naman tayo. Ganda ng natin.
10 o'clock na pala, hindi ko napansin.
Oo. Kaya nga si Mayora, tumahimik na eh. Alam niyo na na.
Napapasarap pa kayong dalawa eh. Sige lang.
Kaya, ito, para yung nasa release ng tren ka. 'Di ba? Yung tren hindi yan hinto ng on the spot. Pagka step mo ng brake, hinto agad, hindi yan.
Yeah.
Tuloy-tuloy yan. Hindi ka rin nag-notice, andun ka sa release ng tren. You have the right to stay there eh. Sa release, sa gitna ng release eh. 'Di ba? May tao nagsabi sa na umalis ka na diyan. No, this is my right, nandito ko sa space na to. Sa gitna ng release ng tren. This is my right. Syempre, rumaragasa yung tren, hindi ka napansin na lang, binanggaan ka na, andun ka na. Nagpreno rin pero hinagip ka pa rin kasi nasa gitna.
Wala, late na eh.
Ngayon, yun yung sinasabi nating consequences of your right. May consequences lahat ng rights na sinasabi mo. Kasi hindi ng rights, puro parehas ng situation, ng condition. May rights yung, ngayon, bibigyan mo ng risk yung driver ng tren na mag-isip na nakapatay siya ng tao. Samantalang ikaw, yung rights mo, pinaglalaban mo na sa gitna ka ng release ng tren. So those are the things na kailangan mong isipin. Hindi lahat ng rights mo tama. Kasi bibigyan mo ng risk, 'di ba, ng mental and psychological problem yung nakakapatay sa yung operator.
Ibang tao.
So this is a great example sa mga katulad niya ng COVID. May rights ka. Oo, wala namang pumipigil sa'yo. Nasa gitna ka ng tren eh. Wala namang nagbabawal. Bawal ang nasa gitna ng tren. May bawal ba? Nagsasabi sa'yo, bawal na ang tao nasa gitna ng tren. Dapat lahat ng release. May nakabalandrang mga mga signage. Okay? Off limits. Wala naman dyan nagsasabi off limits dyan eh. May rights ka dyan. Pero, once na mabanggaan ka, bahala ka sa buhay mo. Wag kang maninisi ng tao kasi rights mo yun eh.
Hindi kaya lang, paano mo sisisihin eh? Kung nenok na yun, isipin mo, try ng bumangga siya, malamang
Ganon
yan.
din yung sa COVID,
Shoot ka
Papa
sa balde
George.
dyan.
Ganon din yung COVID.
Yun nga yung maganda sa trend, nakikita mo yung COVID, hindi.
Oo. So, ay, ang
Don't
ganda ng
see how they
discussion.
process that.
Ang ganda ng session natin. We're very thankful
Diba?
na. And yan ang because sa ating mga sponsors as well, di ba?
Yes.
Mayora. Yan,
Correct.
special dyan si Papa Genesis. Nasa industrial field. Diba? So, ito yung nakikita na ni Papa Genesis na ang ganda pala ng Good Vibes Pilipinas. Ibang-iba ang Good Vibes Pilipinas. Diba? Diba?
Thank you, Papi.
Alam mo, Papa, di ba Papa Genesis? Ganito pala ang Good Vibes Pilipinas. Hindi ako nagkamali sa pag-sponsor kasi maraming, di ba, very constructive, educational, informative na pwedeng talakayin ng Good Vibes Pilipinas to help the community.
Of
Diba?
course.
So, hindi tayo puro masayang kwentuhan kasi we can also tackle mga timely, sensitive
Yes.
discussion, mga serious,
Correct.
yet binibigyan natin ng kapiraso pa rin twist
Correct.
na masaya.
Sa iba, ano lang. Siyempre, sa iba, kung ano lang yung mga, sige ha, mga t-shirt kayo ha. Kaya nga pala, yung aming merchandise, ang mga merchandise namin are
Bigyan
available
ng jacket
na.
yan!
Bigyan ng jacket yan.
Yan ang jumper.
Ayan, si Papa George, pupunta ako sa Papa George very soon. Anong size mo nga? Medium? Large?
Medium,
Ayan,
sir.
So,
Bigyan ng jumper yan,
Bigyan ng
si Papa
jumper.
George.
ayan. So, bibigay ko sa'yo baka Monday, dumaan ako sa sa bahay nyo. Kasi may permit
sige.
naman ako eh. So, again, thank you guys. Thank you sa lahat mga andyan pa din nakikinig sa kulitan namin. Ganito lang kami makipagkulitan. Very intellectual. Ganito lang kami. Ayaw namin yung mga Dunkin Donuts na yan. Oh my God, hindi namin pinapatulan yan. Mga Dunkin Donuts na yan. Please, please.
Hindi ko kaya.
Hindi
Bakit
ko
pa
kaya.
ganyan? Pag may 35,000, ganyan talaga. Pati, yung mga 35,000, hindi na natin pinapatulan yan. Yung mga 35,000.
Tsaka nakaumay na. Pag nakaumay na,
mas
kailangan
marami pang
atsara.
mahahalagang issue na dapat
Yes.
tayong pag-usapan kaysa pasabay.
Pasabay. Tapos magreklamo sa cab. What the? Magpapasabay ka galing sa Pilipinas yung produkto mo, tapos cab. Di mo ba alam na kung saan lang ang sakop ng Consumer Affairs Victoria? Minsan,
But in the first place, bawal yan.
bawal na nga yun. Wala nga silang HACCP certificate, yung food safety. Di ba?
Yes.
Wala
Pero
mo,
naman kwento niyan, nagpadala ba ng donut yan? Ang mga kwento
Oo.
niyan,
may umuwi
Kasi
sa
bakit?
Pilipinas.
kwento ko ba ng short
Sige
lang?
na, sige na. Mayora kasi, alam mo naman si Papa George, masyadong huli sa balita.
Oo, lagi nga huli sa balita. Ganito kasi yan, Papa George. May nag-advertise na, halimbawa ako, gusto nyo bang magpasabay mula sa Pilipinas ng munchkins? Choco butternut munchkins. Eh di bumili ka naman. Nung ma-receive mo
Kasi
ngayon
hayok na hayok
yung
ka na sa Templang Pinoy. Hayok na hayok na.
Oo, nung ma-receive mo ngayon, binayaran mo ako ng $57 yata o 54. Eh di syempre, takam na takam ka na. Pagdating sa'yo nung pagkain, naka-vacuum seal. Tapos, nung inalis mo siya, mukhang clump lang siya na
Mukha na
ano.
siyang kikiam. Hindi na siya.
Ay,
Kumuha na siyang fishball na hilaw.
Oo.
So, na-upset ka. So, ngayon, nagreklamo ka. So, hanggang sa dumating dun sa point na blinak ka na nung tindera. Siguro nakulitan sa'yo. So, nilagay mo sa Filipino Facebook page. Hanggang sa madami ng chismosa ang
mga loko-loko,
lumagsak,
pinagkatripan ng
comment,
plukims.
ganyan. Hanggang dumating sa point na irereklamo ka na daw yung seller doon sa cab. Eh, hindi naman siya,
Hindi siya applicable.
well, technically.
May nagsasabi pa nga daw, mga asawa daw na puti yung, come on. Don't make stories, come on. Mga asawa pa daw ng puti ang nagsabi na ireklamo sa cab. What the hell? Kahit puti magsasabi niya, are you serious?
Kahit asawa
Hindi,
ko, hindi puti.
Oo.
Hindi, pwede bang idemanda
Hindi
yan?
mag-aaksaya ng oras dyan.
Hindi, pwede bang magdemanda? Baka naman $20 lang ang filing fee. Tapos, abutin na tayo ng taon-taon. Not unless gusto
Baka,
mo meron.
Papa George, baka
Baka
ganun
Hindi nila
yan.
alam ang proseso. Akala nila.
Baka abutin siya ng 1,000,000. Para sa donut.
Sabi ni
Ako po,
O'Neil,
Panginoon
tangki
kong
ng
Diyos.
donut yan.
Alam mo, O'Neil, kaya ka nabablock dahil sa mga ganyan mong
Pinapatulan niya yung mga
comments.
Dunkin' Donut na yan.
Ay, naku, love
Kita mo, di good vibes tayo.
Promise.
Sabi ni El, magreklamo po ako yung Alvin's Creation, hindi po naka-vacuum pack.
Hindi, tingnan mo
Ay,
na.
yung Alvin's Creation, pabili ako.
Ay, meron akong request. Baka meron naman dyan na gano'n. Kasi miss na miss ko na rin yung mamon sa, sa Goldilocks.
Alam mo Papa George, Mayora, pumunta lang kayo sa Papa Bear. Ang sasarap ng mga cakes nila ngayon. Meron silang ube.
Nasaan ba ang Papa Bear?
Dito lang sa may
Sunshine.
sunshine.
Sunshine. Sige,
Ube
hanapin
leche flan,
mo.
nako, nakaka-addict.
Ay,
Hindi, pero
nagde-deliver
gusto
ba
ko yung
sila?
Ha?
Nagde-deliver?
Hindi. Pero magsabi ka lang, daan ako. Kasi si baby, siya lang kumakain isang araw, isang buo na chiffon style.
Sige, dalhan mo ako.
Okay.
Hindi, pero gusto ko yung galing sa Pilipinas. Pagdating dito, naka-vacuum seal
Huwag ka
yung
na magpasabay
Ayun
at
ka na
baka,
naman, magreklamo ka rin sa cab.
baka hindi na mamon yan.
Di syempre, yung magpapadeliver, syempre, for example, yung papunta rito, yung mga ipapatungan niya is mga damit. Syempre naman, yung Dunkin' Donuts box ba naman ang ilalagay mo doon? Di matutuyo na, magme-melt yung lahat, mamamantsahan yung mga damit, di ba, kung ano-ano. Syempre,
Hindi ko lang mag-gets yung concept ng bakit na kailangan gumawa ng ganun as a business.
Alam mo naman ng mga Pilipino, basta mapagkakakitaan, mga racket-racket. Alam mo na yung mga
Kaya
racket-racket
lang, sino sa dalawang medyo letter T? Mayor, Papa Melvin. Sino sa
Parang
dalawang
sila may
letter T?
problema eh. Problema sila pareho. Una sa lahat, bakit ko why would I bother? You know? Second of all,
May pumatol.
Yun na nga sabi ko, ba't ko sa pinapatulan?
I'm pretty sure meron namang taste ang choco butternut sa mga tinapay na narito sa
Ay
Melbourne.
nako, okay na ako sa Krispy Kreme muna at the moment. Kung di pa makauwi, Krispy Kreme muna, Krispy Kreme. O kaya ano yun, Daniel's Donuts. And also Alvin's Creation. Diba?
Oo, Calvin's Creation is
O,
nice.
tsaka yung I Need You, yung I Need You, sarap ng I Need You.
Masarap nga yung ng I Need You eh. Yung ube
cake.
makapuno pie.
Kaya lang di ko
Gutom
alam
na naman ako.
deliver ngayon ng Alvin's Creation kasi yung delivery boy nila, si Adrian,
Baka naman yung
masyadong
delivery boy ng Alvin's Creation.
may pinagdadaanan palagi.
Nakahanap na ng forever, kaya na ayaw
Wala nga
mag-deliver.
wala nga forever kaya nga hanggang ngayon ayaw pumunta rito. Siguro yung forever niya inaasahan, hindi pala siya yung forever.
Ayun lang, wag mo nang i-break ang heart at baka deliveran na tayo niya.
Yan. Binubus ko lang yung confidence niya na sana mag-deliver uli si Adrian.
Alam mo, Alvin's Creation, pag pumunta ka dito sa bahay ni Mayora, mai-inspire ka. Bibigyan kita ng love advice, kaya i-deliver mo na yung tinapay na ino-order ko, ha?
Okay.
Anyway, ang sarap.
O siya,
Good
masarap
vibes
na
nga tayo.
kwentuhan. Ayaw na naman ninyong magtapos.
Well, anyway. Mauna na ako.
Oo.
Para doon sa ating mga kabarkadahan dyan, maraming pong salamat. Sana may napulot po kayo sa aming masaya at makabuluhang talakayan. And we'll see you po ulit next week. Ito po si Papa George.
Yan, ako maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat kay Florence. Maraming salamat kay Daniel sa kanilang mga informative answer to all our questions. At sana po marami kayong natutunan. At sana kung meron kayong mga problema, makipag-ugnayan lamang po kayo sa kanila. Siguro we'll put the information again sa ating webpage. Ano? Ito na naman po ang inyong Mayora Mered Safra, nagsasabing good vibes po lamang. Magandang gabi po.
Ayun. At also kanina may guest tayo si Miss Rodalyn Daguplo. Okay, mayroon siyang bagong kakalaunch lang na book. Okay, supportahan po natin sila. Sa ngalan po na aming makasama si Bibo at si Mai. Ayan, kasama ko si Mayora at si Papa George. Ito po si Papi Melvin. Dito lang sa Good Vibes, Pilipinas. Boom!
Boom!
Good night po sa
Okay,
inyong
good night
lahat.
po.
See you
See you
Tuesday.
next week.
everyone!
Okay, sa Sabado may band po kami from the Philippines na
Ayan,
i-feature.
good.
Ayan, salamat po. Ingat po kayong lahat dyan.
Bye!
Thank you po. Stay safe. Stay safe.